Who is he? What's he doing
They
there?
already know who you are, though.
Don't miss this special reunion. Eamonn and Anne together again, only on GB News Breakfast this weekend from 6 a.m.
And is that a gardening
No,
tan?
no, it's a cypress tan.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
And the question this morning is, can the Prime Minister get voters, you the voter, back on side?
Yes, MPs are looking ahead now to their summer recess, but plans are reportedly afoot for a cabinet reshuffle following a torrid year for the Prime Minister.
Could a front bench reset get Starmer's premiership back on track after weeks of setbacks and controversies?
And of course, this comes as Angela Rayner is, if you like, binned by Unite over recent bin strikes in Birmingham. And the union has also announced that it's going to review its relationship with the Labour Party. We'll be speaking, actually, a bit later on to the General Secretary of Unite, Sharon Graham, a bit later on.
A report into the Air India crash that killed 260 people has found that switches to the engine's fuel supplies were turned off seconds after takeoff. We're taking a closer look throughout the show.
And Oasis came home to Manchester. The band played their first gig there for nearly 16 years last night after kicking off their world tour last week. That was in Cardiff, of course.
Are celebrations a distraction to sports events like Wimbledon? We'll be debating just that at 7:20 and talking about who turns up.
I like to see that. The author of the best-selling book, The Salt Path, has been accused of lying, as The Observer claims the book and the movie are very misleading and spun, this is a quote, spun from lies, deceit and desperation.
The heat wave set to peak this weekend, temperatures reaching 34 degrees, it's predicted.
A very good morning to you. Reality has hit me. Those the words of Novak Djokovic after his dream of a record-equalling 8th Wimbledon title were dashed by world number one Yannick Sinner on centre court. But he's vowed to play on. We'll reflect on a dramatic afternoon at SW90.
Blue skies and rising temperatures, high UV levels today as well. Join me later for a full forecast to find how high the temperatures could go and how long this heat wave will last.
It's a Saturday morning, and just for a change, it's me, Eamonn Holmes.
It is. And just to be the same, I'm Anne Diamond. This is GB News Breakfast on a Saturday. The heat wave is causing an abundance of ladybirds. Ooh. And apparently it affected the cricket yesterday. Ladybirds are being seen in very high numbers this year due to the warm weather, an expert has said, after a swarm of them stopped play at Lord's.
Wow.
The influx brought a halt to Thursday. It was Thursday. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, that was Thursday. First day of play it was in the third test between England and India, and England's astonished vice-captain, Ollie Pope, said, I've never seen that before, that's a first. And apparently there's a picture of the stump being absolutely covered in ladybirds.
Gosh, and do you know how many ladybirds I've seen this year?
Go on.
None.
Haven't you? I've seen a few.
Two. You notice them, don't you?
I've seen a few.
Well, maybe there's a swarm afoot. Are you enjoying the heat?
Yeah, I do. I am actually.
Yeah.
I am. How many great days of weather do we get a year? 10, 12,
Yeah,
something
make
like
the
that?
most of them.
Absolutely. More heat waves. I was walking out yesterday in the midday sun. Didn't even have a hat on.
No, totally with
Yeah.
you. I don't bother with the protection or anything else, but and I just glory in it. I just sit and say, this is nice, and long may it continue.
I was walking around Wimbledon and I'm thinking, you know, we've got an international tennis tournament on the doorstep, lots of atmosphere in the town, and I just walked around and just took it in. Didn't do very much, but I just walked around. There's plenty of green space. I did stop for a pint, actually. Yeah. But other than that, it was just nice taking it all in.
But they had to stop play at Wimbledon just so that the, medics could actually attend to the people who were fainting in the, in the rows in the audience. Yeah. First time that's happened.
Can I ask you?
Usually it's rain that stops
Can I ask you what you think of the story we ran on the openers there about the celebrities in the Royal Box? I quite like it.
To see them. Yes, it's good fun.
When I saw that Jodie Foster was there, I was very impressed.
Leo DiCaprio was there yesterday.
Hugh Grant fell asleep.
He did. I thought he'd become an MP.
Oh, yeah,
that was in the House of Commons. But no,
Dame Elaine Page was there.
Well, there was the interesting exchange between Andre Agassi and Andrew Castle yesterday on the BBC's commentary.
Was there?
Andrew Castle said that he pointed out a few. He was basically celeb spotting on the changeover in the Royal Box, and Agassi said, why do you think that's interesting? We're here to talk about the tennis. It was quite a pointed remark.
Agassi said that?
Yes. Oh. And Andrew Castle said, look, when we're on the changeover, there's sometimes not much to talk about. And I, as somebody who's commentated before, I can understand, I can see his point of view, actually.
Yeah, well, yes, but he doesn't get Wimbledon in that case, because Wimbledon isn't... I know it's a bout of tennis.
But it's a big social event.
Yes, it's a huge... It's one of our, cucumber and mint teas, and cucumber sandwiches, and mint tea, and strawberries and champagne.
Well, I've got a complaint about it, though.
Why?
Why aren't I there? Yeah. Why aren't you there? Yeah. Why aren't you there?
Honestly, can you... getting there is... awful. Getting back is terrible. Even though I absolutely love it, I know. Last time I was there, the people I were with just kept going off to the hospitality tent to watch the cricket.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I was in Wimbledon Park where the queues start. Now, when I was in there yesterday, the queues had kind of dispersed because most people had got inside the complex. But I could not believe... It was organised, but I could not believe where the queue would start. And I'm not sure if anyone could pay me any amount of money to stand in that.
No, I wouldn't queue. Queue.
No, well, we know what we're saying is if it was a fancy ticket,
but we'd be quite happy to take tickets for next year if anybody wants to invite us.
Yeah. Now, why are we here as a duo this morning?
Why are we here?
Ellie's getting married today.
Well, she's getting married again.
Again, yes, I know. Yeah.
She's married and she's getting married and big party today, basically. And that's good luck to her.
Absolutely.
In France, she's doing this.
I can't wait for the pictures. I really want to see the pictures because she'll look wonderful, I know.
Let's get into the programme and the news. Plans afoot for a cabinet reshuffle, we hear. That following a torrid year in office, with the Prime Minister planning to inject more purpose, it said, into the government following weeks of setbacks.
Who comes up with these phrases? Going to inject more purpose. Anyway, it's all happening as Angela Rayner is binned by Unite, the union, over the recent bin strikes in Birmingham. The union has also announced that it's now going to review its relationship with the Labour Party overall.
Former Conservative Minister Kevin Foster, we're delighted to say, joins us in the studio. Very nice to see you, Kevin. Kevin, I think it's totally appropriate for the union to bin Angela Rayner. I just don't understand how I could be a socialist MP standing up for the working person and whatever, and then telling the bin operatives in Birmingham, accept the deal you're being offered, which could mean you losing 8,000 quid a year. Where is the union in that?
Well, it's interesting. You could have a long conversation about how equal pay in Birmingham for city council for many years has not implemented and got to where they are today. But binning off Angela Rayner, who's busy pushing forward things on workers' rights and other things that actually the unions really wanted to see. But actually, I don't think this is going to do her much harm in the long run.
Why?
Well, the reason why, if she wants to replace Keir Starmer, one of the concerns for a lot of particularly Labour MPs and less so Labour activists, particularly Labour MPs, will be how would she appeal to the middle ground at a next general election. You know, she can't be Corbyn in a dress. She has to be something that can appeal a bit more across the range of political opinion.
And,
so this may actually help her.
And her stand is sort of standing up for the people, for the citizens of Birmingham, I mean, who are living through atrocious times at the moment with rubbish piling up in their streets.
It is, although a lot of that's part
surely,
of
I mean, you are a union representative being a Labour Party person, and if you're not sticking up for the working people, who the heck, what do you stand for?
Well, that's an interesting question, isn't it?
Well, it is. You know, what is the Labour Party there for? Is it to basically be delegates from their trade union, or is it to try and stand a bit more in the middle between Birmingham taxpayers, who, let's be honest, have been getting hit constantly for increasing council tax and ever worsening services?
But what I'd say about that, Kevin, is that if you put yourself in that position, would you take an £8,000 pay cut in your job? Answer no. People won't do it, and people have got to be honest and ask themselves, well, it's OK, at least my bins are empty, that's fine, I don't care about anything else, but you've got to care about the greater good.
Well, I think you've got to look at what the situation is there, but I think most people would say, actually, there are quite a lot of advantages to working for your local council that don't come with your average job, you know, the type of pension scheme that you'll have at your local authority. Job security, something that a lot of people do not have at the moment. You're likely to be fairly stable in your employment. And again, actually, there's quite a long story in Birmingham about equal pay and various pay deals over the years that literally have just been weak leadership for many, many years that have left Birmingham literally bankrupt.
But there's also a long story to Angela Rayner's relationship with Unite anyway, because she claims, or her people are claiming, that she'd already left Unite. To heck with the idea that I'm being binned by Unite. I'd already left. But whatever, a lot of their MPs at the moment are going through this real... they can't figure out where they stand, because wherever they stand at the moment, because they should be socialist MPs, as it were, wherever they stand at the moment, they're going to offend almost one half of their own parliamentary party.
Well, I think the problem they've had is how little preparation was actually done to be a party of government rather than just be a party of opposition, despite all the claims they made before the election. You know, you've now seen, for example, issues around things like Donald Trump's state visit, where numerous people's tweets are now being quoted. We saw, for example, with the growth figures yesterday, people immediately reminding themselves of only 3 years ago, Rachel Reeves demanding an emergency budget when a similar growth figure was put up. Well, that was clear palpable nonsense 3 years ago, and it'd be palpable nonsense to suggest that again today. So there's that transition from opposition to government has clearly not gone well at all, and many people are now having to engage with the fact that, you know, there's some really tough decisions and difficult decisions to be made, and they aren't going to be solved by sort of student union style politics. And that's where some of the, I think, tensions are coming in the Labour Party compared to, let's say, the operation Tony Blair had after 1997, where they'd clearly done a lot to prepare for power. They prepared their candidates who would then go on to be MPs for power, and then ran a very, very tight ship where realistically the opposition didn't get a look in for 6-7 years.
So what are your predictions then for a reshuffle?
Well, I think for a reshuffle, first, it's going to be interesting to see Keir Starmer basically look at his cabinet and say, I think it's all your fault, and then try and change it.
So will Rachel Reeves be made a scapegoat, maybe?
I think the problem with taking out a Chancellor is, inevitably, the Prime Minister will follow. Because
that historically happens.
Because ultimately, budgets, yes, are presented by the Chancellor, but if a Prime Minister tries to say, oh, I didn't know about that, oh, that was all her, absolute rubbish. Every part of that budget will have been signed off at number 10 before it went out. And he was very keen in the past to say how closely they worked together, and now they seem to be trying to distance a little bit. And just changing faces, changing personnel isn't going to make a difference. No one out there is saying, God, if only there was a new Northern Ireland secretary, or if only they changed over who's in charge at DCMS. That isn't going to change the Labour Party's polling fortunes. And exactly the same as Rishi Sunak's last reshuffle made not a jot of difference to the Conservative Party's polling position. Unless you change the policies and change the message, you're going to get the same outcome.
But we can read a lot into a reshuffle, can't we? I mean, maybe too much, but certain characters will be jostling for promotion positions or whatever.
Absolutely. You can read a bit into it about who a Prime Minister might see as an eventual successor, what type of policies they are interested in, who they want to sort of reward, and also who they see as having done a genuinely poor job and needing to be removed from the administration. But I think if at number 10 they think a reshuffle is going to really, in itself, is going to turn around where Labour is in the polls, then I'm afraid they only need to look at recent past to see that it won't.
Am I alone in being, I'm trying to think of the right word here, cheesed off in watching Starmer hug Emmanuel Macron.
Oh, I'm fed up with that. Are you?
Every day, I'm fed up with it. Every day. It's as if he hasn't seen... Every day.
Yeah.
Is,
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I don't mean that. But yeah, it's so sham, isn't it? They're doing it for the cameras because at one point they broke away and then they realised that obviously the snappers were still going and so they hugged each other again.
Yeah.
It's sort of, I mean, ugh.
Yeah, it does just look fake. It looks like you're trying to say, oh, look how close we are. We're great mates. We're brilliant friends.
And then what does Macron do? Gives a speech which sort of rubbishes us.
Yeah, it gives a speech which has a go at Brexit, you know, his favourite thing to have a go at. But ultimately, the two of them actually have one thing in common. Both of them are struggling to get anything controversial through their parliaments. Both have pretty dire poll ratings, and many people are predicting that both of them will be gone within about 2-3 years' time. So, you know, in some ways, they could hug each other quite close, metaphorically as well as physically, but it does just look fake.
No, I mean, they can hug as much as they like, but it's not stopping migrants coming over in those boats, is it?
No, and it's not stopping. I mean, there was that poll during the week, people saying they want Starmer to go now.
Well, I think Keir Starmer is probably on the slide, but it's almost remarkable to think only a year ago where he was then, you know, on the 5th of July, it looked like he had a decade in power, and now, actively in the Labour Party, the people behind the closed doors starting to speculate about who he could be replaced by. That's a huge turnaround in fortunes. It speaks volumes for him as an individual and in terms of weak leadership. And by the way, the opposition also needs to have its own discussions as well.
Well, true.
And who would your eye be on within the Labour Party? I mean, Angela Rayner being one of them, but she's not the only one. And I think the strongest candidates aren't MPs yet. That's where they've got a problem, like someone like Andy Burnham, for instance.
Yeah, the problem for someone like Andy Burnham, who I think many Labour Party members, a bit like, by the way, same with Boris Johnson in terms of the Conservative Party, is not in Parliament. However, if Andy Burnham wanted to get into Parliament, and there was a need to get him into Parliament, perceived by the Labour Party, you know, you can imagine there'd be at least one Labour MP who'd, in a very safe Labour seat, would suddenly develop that pressing family issue we'd never heard, or that sudden ill health diagnosis that none of us realised they were ill, but suddenly means they can no longer carry on as an MP.
We think he's very popular amongst the Parliamentary Labour Party, but there are a lot who don't like him because he's got he was part of the Blair government.
Well, there will be people who'll spite in the past, but then again, in some ways that gives him credibility, and he can talk about his time as Greater Manchester Mayor, which probably is what has put him forward. Yeah. But it's interesting to contrast how being mayor has helped his political fortunes with what's happened to Sadiq Khan, whereas being London mayor has pretty much ended any hopes he has of leading the Labour Party.
OK. Kevin, thanks for your thoughts. We're going to have them again after 7 o'clock today. If you want to have your say as to what Kevin's saying, please do get in touch and just register your...
Yeah, Mr Bill Fry has already been in touch saying, well said, Mr Holmes, but I don't know what he's talking about when you...
But everything I say is well said.
Is it? Oh,
everything.
Okay, fine.
Everything, that's basically it.
Shall we move on? It's 16 minutes past 6 already. Now, in 2026, America will be 250 years old. And if it wasn't for the glorious revolution of 1688, it may never have found its independence.
Now, if this sounds like an educational school lecture, it is. After the Williamite Wars, which I'm sure many of you remember, many Presbyterians left Ireland. They settled in the New World. They made a living spinning a crop called flax that came from Ireland. Now, our Northern Ireland reporter, Dougie Beattie, this is all about the 12th of July and the history of it, which means nothing to you, but it's a big deal in the 6 counties. Have a look.
Beneath the lonesome sky they swore to roam, where silence stretched, they carved their home. Their hands spun flax into linen threads, a life of grit where courage led the winter's bid.
Pennsylvania was fast becoming the breadbasket of the colonies, and old skills would soon help the Ulster Scots carve out a new future.
This is a scutching knife, and what we're doing is that after the flax has been broken, so that means the outside straw has been taken off, what we want to do is we want to take more of that out. And it's done by essentially taking this and we're beating it.
Beneath the lonesome sky they swore to roam, where silence stretched, they carved their home.
The flax that had been so successful in Ulster now became an important part of not only the economy, but the growth of society. Every house would have a small flax crop, and some would have a barn loom for turning it into cloth.
This would have been mainly done by the Scots-Irish in this area. You would have also seen it with the German population and with the other predominantly English population. But in this area where we're currently located, mainly Scots-Irish and German. And this was part of this kind of cultural interplay that went between these two major ethnic groups here.
These cottage industries would be a family affair, and trading with their neighbours would cause a melding of society built on work ethics and religious beliefs.
These are all Calvinist people for the most part, and they have a shared culture. They're not Catholic, and that's one of the things that really binds these groups together. And over the generations, Scots, Irish, and Germans intermarried, and they traded language, they traded culture, and of course then they traded bloodlines as well.
The whispered sweat of pioneers echoed strong through all the years.
As
There
we
you
say,
are. Actually, it's fascinating because we were just talking about what is flax. It's common flax or linseed, and it's a flowering plant, and it's grown all over the world, both as a food but also as a fibre crop. Apparently,
well,
so you grind it down, and well, whatever you do with it, it's all there. And then in the end, you spin it and you make stuff from it. So we've all learned something today.
OK, and you may know today is the 12th of July. Parades all over Northern Ireland today. Last night was the 11th of July, which is bonfires absolutely everywhere lit in protest. And Dougie Beattie was at one in Portrush.
The 12th of July celebrations are now well underway. Bonfires here are lit at Ballysally community. It has been about 2 or 3 months in the planning for this fire to be built. You can see the street parties just over there to the left-hand side, and the local community are out enjoying this festive season and remembering exactly what the 12th of July meant to the people of Great Britain.
It's part of our heritage and culture of what we are. And it's the Protestant culture of what we have, and it's what we believe in.
And what do you think of a bonfire?
Cool, very cool.
Do you know what it stands for?
No.
Oh, there you go. It's nothing like a good bonfire, particularly if you don't know what it's all about. But there you go. We all learned something, and maybe that's worth knowing. 6:20 it is already. Should we find out how the weather is going to treat us today?
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A sizzling, sunny summer Saturday for the vast majority. If you're waking up in eastern areas, then, well, it might just be a little grey outside. Mist and low cloud has been filtering in through the night. It's quite patchy in nature, and it is going to burn back to the coasts. Some beaches may stay a little misty, but for most places, it's going to be dry, it's going to be sunny, and it is going to be hot. Temperatures widely over 30 degrees Celsius across the heart of England and Wales. A little cooler in eastern areas, particularly if some of that mist and low cloud sticks, but we could easily again get to 30 Celsius across parts of western Scotland, so west of Northern Ireland in the high 20s too. It's going to be a warm night, a balmy summer's evening. This ha, though, is likely to thicken up at times and will affect some coast across eastern Scotland, particularly around coasts of the Northern Isles. For most of mainland Scotland, much of Northern Ireland, a dry and a sunny end to the day. Fine and sunny too for the majority of England and Wales. Again, some of this patchy sea fog just at times rippling onto the coast. And it will come back inland as we go through the night too. This mist and low cloud will again feature on tomorrow morning. But for most places it stays dry, stays clear. It's going to be a really warm night, especially in parts of northwest Wales and northwest Scotland. With the mountains playing a part, temperatures could hold up above 20 Celsius in some locations. Most of us dipping down to about 15 to 18 Celsius. So quite a warm, quite a humid night again. And it will be a hot day tomorrow too, but not as hot. Temperatures generally a couple of degrees lower. A bit more cloud in eastern areas. Even the chance of seeing a shower or two across parts of northeast England, southeast Scotland, but it is just a small chance. Most places staying dry. Still some of that mist and low cloud on some coasts, but generally another hot day. But things are going to change, turning cooler and a bit wetter early next week.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Now, the Daily Telegraph today have this poll as voted the 10 best countries on the planet. And these are quite interesting. In 5th place, Greece. I'd worry about going to Greece at the minute. Earthquakes, fires, lots of things like that. But lovely country, but I'm just a bit timid.
Yeah.
South Africa, well, say no more. Absolute beautiful country. Cape Town, one of the most beautiful places on earth, but
a different culture from ours, really.
Yes, and violence is a big problem. People worried about that. India, never been.
No, I've never been to India.
No. Japan, never been.
No, but I'd love to.
Yes.
Love to see
But
it.
apparently you just go to Japan and you circle, it's like a polo mint. You do the outside of Japan because the inner bit of Japan's just all mountain.
Yeah.
And again, earthquakes.
But it's very flat in Tokyo, apparently, especially if you go in cherry blossom time, which I love to do that.
Yes.
You rent a bike and you just bike around because it's quite flat. It's not that difficult to bike around. Yeah, love to do Tokyo.
And the best country in the whole world on planet Earth is New Zealand.
Good morning.
New Zealand, never been.
Good evening, New Zealand, if you're watching.
It's a long way away.
It is. That's the trouble with New Zealand and Australia. They're wonderful, wonderful places, but they're such a long way away.
But you get to Australia and you think, is there anywhere further than this? And then you realise, yes, there is, New Zealand. But there you go.
And it is utterly beautiful.
Where do you think the best country on earth is?
Where would you go? Where would you go and live? If you were not going to live here, if you'd had enough, where would you go and live? That's a different thing too. Because you go to New Zealand or Australia, it's so far away from any family you may.
I used to think America, but I worry about guns now.
Yeah.
You know that.
Where would you live? Do get in touch.
Portugal.
Tell us. Portugal's beautiful.
Maybe Portugal.
Yeah.
Maybe. But let us know. I would live anywhere in Britain if the sun was the way it was this week. Absolutely brilliant. Right, we're going to take a short break. 6:25, and Oasis returned to their roots, performing in Manchester last night. And they're going to be on again
in Manchester tonight.
Yeah.
GB News reporter Sophie Reaper was there soaking up the atmosphere. She'll bring you her special report next.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I reckon if you went to an Oasis concert, it would be a heck of an atmosphere.
Well, it clearly is a brilliant time. I mean, were you an Oasis fan?
No, you see, I have a problem with them, and that is because they're associated with a Manchester City football team.
Oh, I see.
And I genuinely, however puerile this is of me, I do have a barrier. I think their music is fantastic, absolutely incredible.
I wouldn't know one of their songs if it bowled me over.
Wonderwall.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
But I always think they looked grumpy. I mean, that's what I never warmed to the idea of you trying to listen to their music because I always thought they looked a bit grumpy. But I know, I'm so sorry if I'm offending, because I know there are so many superfans who just have been waiting for this moment, and that is what must be wonderful. Going to a concert of somebody you really love and enjoying the idea of watching them with other people who love them. You know, like Live Aid all over again or something huge.
Well, maybe you were at Heaton Park last night in Manchester, which is where they were playing. It was completely sold out, and our reporter Sophie Reaper was amongst the crowd.
Well, that is it. The conclusion of Oasis's return to Manchester. Their first homecoming gig has just come to a closure here at Heaton Park. The fireworks are playing. You can just hear the remnants of Champagne Supernova, their final song on that amazing, amazing set list. People already starting to pour out of Heaton Park in their droves. Let's see if we can get a little bit of reaction from some of those fans to see how much you can really hear those fireworks, can't you? Let's see if we can get a few words from some of those fans to see if they've had a good time. Let's see if we can grab someone. Guys, how was it? Good time? Awesome, yeah. What you expected?
Absolutely unbelievable.
Unbelievable, there we go. Let's see if we can see from someone else. There we go, guys, what did we think? Hello from France. Friends. You've come just for this? From Paris?
Just one night.
Just one night. How was it?
Wonderful.
Amazing. Amazing. Oh, we'll beep that, I think, for breakfast television. Best song, what did you enjoy the most?
Champagne Supernova.
Right at the end there. Anyone else? Any other favourites?
Wonderwall.
Wonderwall. Yes. And yourself?
All stuff.
Rock and Roll Star, a classic.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. Safe flight back to Paris.
Bye.
There we are. The atmosphere is still absolutely incredible. You can hear the fireworks still. What a show, and still so much to come from Oasis. 4 more nights in Manchester, and then they'll continue the tour around the rest of the UK. There you go.
Oh, I love that, Sophie. She throws herself into the moment, doesn't she?
Indeed.
Especially with the hat and everything. Well done.
4 more nights in Manchester.
Yeah, incredible.
You want to go?
Yeah. But others do. I wouldn't deprive a real fan of a ticket.
Judita da Silva joins us now to tell us about what she makes of all of this. Were you there, Judita?
No, I wasn't. And like yourselves, I actually was. The whole Britpop phenomenon kind of went over my head because I was in boarding school and I had a roommate who was a diehard fan of Blur. So it was literally, they were like the Antichrist. So there was a big Britpop, between Blur
it was one
and
or the
Oasis.
other, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I was kind of like an observer of what was going on.
But isn't it amazing, though? I mean, they have turned out, they've kept together, they've turned out for their fans, and they obviously are giving their fans the most fantastic reunion concerts. It's worked.
Yes, I mean, according to reports, it was reported by The Sun that the team behind them is working overtime to keep them separate because they stay in separate hotels, they kind of function separately, and they come together specifically to perform. Because let's face it, we know the issues with the Gallagher brothers. It's the reason the band split up. But now they are middle-aged men. And also the key point is the time they're functioning in. And this is the era where a proof of concept that has changed the touring landscape happened with Taylor Swift and Beyonce, where you can make astronomical amounts of money from touring. And then on the back of that, they probably might even release a tour film and the road to the reunion. So they will make touring money. They might make cinematic money. They might make streaming money. These are pragmatic middle-aged men who know there's money on the table, and so do the teams behind them. So they will do everything they can to not make past mistakes and give a generation of fans who have been waiting for them to come together the show they've been waiting for so long.
Yes, I mean, any branch of the entertainment industry and the sports industry, I suppose, is about making money. So I suppose we can't beat them with that stick, because as long as they give the fans what they want, and at the moment, two shows in, they seem to be doing that. I mean, and you saw the reaction of those fans. They'd had the most fantastic night.
Yeah, I mean, it's wonderful because you can see, similar to Beyonce and Taylor Swift, they have a fan base that will wait for them as long as it takes. We'll be so grateful to have them back together. And it's even said, like Kelly Jones, the lead singer of Stereophonics, that Noel Gallagher is back in the studio writing songs. He doesn't know if it's potentially for a new Oasis album or for his own band, but there's clearly a feeling that they understand the value of what Oasis is. And there's nothing more wonderful than having a star appreciate your fandom and doing what you want to actually celebrate that which brought you together for all those years ago. So it's a beautiful thing to see all around, when you see artists really value what they have created and the people who helped them create it.
Yeah.
And Judita, you're not tempted? 4 more nights in Manchester, you're not tempted?
But I'm going to just be hiding under the duvet like I did when I was a kid while the Blur and Oasis fans fight and sing all the songs. But I know they love them. Like, they feel about them the way I felt about Michael Jackson.
OK.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. You did a very good talking to you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Is there have you been to a concert which is an absolute superstar for you? And absolutely thought, I'm so glad I was there and saw it.
Oh, yeah. In history, I look back, and in 1979, I went to a place called the Grosvenor Hall in Belfast, and I had tickets to see the Man in Black, Johnny Cash.
Oh, yeah.
And it was incredible, and you know you're in the presence of greatness. I mean, it would have been amazing. My all-time hero was Elvis. It would have been amazing to see Elvis, but I'll settle for Johnny Cash.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. I never went to a Beatles concert myself. My sister did. But I went to, do you remember the Prince's Trust used to do big concerts to raise a lot of money with various stars. And I remember being there backstage with Eric Clapton, George Harrison and Ringo. I don't think Paul turned up to that one, but that was amazing. They used to get people together to do the most fantastic concerts. That was wonderful. And Elton. I did a tour with Elton in America, followed him around with a camera crew. And we were backstage when they were just releasing one of his new albums with Bernie Taupin, who was pacing up and down because he was so nervous to see how the album was going. That was brilliant too. And we were in Elton's dressing room, and Sylvester Stallone turned up at half-time just to say, well done, congratulations. Oh, yeah, they were the days.
Yes.
Never mind. Is Anne wearing her dressing gown, says Anne? Thank you very much. No, it's a kimono. But if you so wanted to think of it as dressing gown, well, that's fine by me.
Do that.
Yeah.
Do that.
And Grumpy Grandad says, Oasis aren't really my thing either, but it's each to their own. It's nice to see people having fun for a change, isn't it?
Isn't it? It is indeed. You would have lots of fun if you won our Great British giveaway. 54,321 quid could be yours.
This is your chance to enjoy luxury this summer. It's our biggest cash prize to date, an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash has to be won. What would you do with that? With all of that cash, you could just chill out, treat yourself and indulge in the finer things in life, somewhere like here, Downhall Hotel and Spa. You really could win the cash giveaway of the summer. Go on, treat yourself.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Still to come, it's the Wimbledon final this weekend. Aidan will be here in a couple of moments to tell us all about it.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sunday mornings from 9:30.
She left office 35 years ago, which seems incredible.
God, that makes me feel really old. I remember being at school when she was deposed.
Oh, that makes me feel really old, because I was way beyond school.
Well, I was 47 yesterday, so...
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. Carry on.
Well, so there are 3 generations that have grown up that weren't alive when Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister. And there are so many myths that have built up about her that... and part of the reason I wrote it was because my personal trainer, I broke my hip 2 years ago.
Yes.
So I had to get a personal trainer to the rehab. And he's 25, or was then. And when he found out what I did for a living, he said, well, Margaret Thatcher, I've heard of her, but who was she? What did she do? He didn't even know she'd been Prime Minister. And I was slightly horrified by this. So this is really aimed at those generations. You can't tell every aspect of her life in a book that size, but it really is an introduction to her. And the first sentence says, if you've read Charles Moore's 3-volume biography of her, please stop here. This book is not for you.
No.
So
it's an
covers most of the
introduction to her.
Things.
And by the way, maybe that revelation by your PT does ask questions about the national curriculum and history teaching. They should do a section, shouldn't they, on our first female Prime Minister, arguably. But what's the challenge then when you're writing somebody's life up? I mean, and what a life she led.
Well, I found out that it's much more difficult to write a short book than a long book, because you really do have to be concise. I was told I had 30,000 words. I said, well, that's a pamphlet, not a book. So I stretched it to 45,000. But normally a biography would be 120, 150,000 words. So it really was quite a challenge to condense it all. And what do you leave out? I mean, I wasn't going to do a chapter on Northern Ireland, but as I was writing it, I thought, no, you can't do that.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Right, we're serving you up the sport now with Aidan and women's final at Wimbledon.
Indeed, yeah. A little bit of embarrassment, actually, I think. I mean, we spoke about this backstage, sorry, not backstage, on the behind the scenes. Back there, about Iga Swiatek. She's in action today against Amanda Anisimova. Anisimova has a great backstory. Not really involved in tennis that much for 4 or 5 years. She suffered some heavy bereavement with her father's death. I think he was involved in coaching her as well, and she took some time out for mental health. Last year, she didn't even qualify for Wimbledon, and she's in the qualifiers this year, and here she is in the final, showing all the pedigree she showed as a youngster. She got to the French Open final, I think, a few years back.
Oh, she's good.
And she's up against Iga Swiatek. Now, I'll come to this in a minute, why it's embarrassing, because she was reprimanded for doping. She served a one-month ban earlier this year. Yannick Sinner, who's in the men's final on Sunday, he served a 3-month ban for doping. Now, I spoke last week, didn't I, about how I thought tennis might be going through a little bit of a sticky phase of its existence, because if you're promoting these guys, you know, if you're not, you know, when someone's doping, you need to be handing down proper punishments, and these two. In the eyes of most of the tennis people. I was with a lot of journalists last night in Wimbledon who've been covering tennis. They go around the world covering tennis, and the feeling within the sport is that these two were not dealt with the way they should. It sounds like an odd tone to take.
So they wouldn't have a lot of empathy or sympathy then to be champions then?
I don't think so. I wouldn't actually say that, because I watched with interest the reaction that they garnered throughout the court, on the various show courts this week. The fans seem to have forgotten about it, and I think that's what the tennis authorities knew. But the fact that the Court for Arbitration for Sport actually appealed Sinner's original sentence because they felt it wasn't strong enough.
OK, well, who do you fancy today who will be strong enough to take the title?
Given that everyone says Swiatek can't play on grass, I think she's countered that this week with some excellent performances. She won Junior Wimbledon as well. People tend to forget a few years back. I think the pedigree, 5 Grand Slams under her belt, will be enough just to get her past Anisimova. But don't write her off either.
No, let's go for the underdog, Anisimova. Yes. She was good.
Yeah, she was. You watched a lot of it this week.
Yeah. Well, it's been too hot to go and sit in the garden.
So she's in the garden and she goes, this is too hot, so what else am I going to do? She goes in and turns on Wimbledon.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. And you can sit indoors and not feel guilty about not going out, because it was actually too hot outside.
Yeah, it was, but it was very hot on court.
I tell you what, the weather has fried my mint. I've got a huge bed of mint, which I love. Mint. Yeah, it's like they've gone crispy, and yet I watered them, but I've never seen plants so affected by the weather.
Well, apparently you're not supposed to water plants in the sun, in direct sunlight.
You wait till the evening, and you give it a good soaking, and you don't even do it on the plants, you do it on the soil. But they have fried. I've now got a bed of crispy mint.
That sounds like a delicacy to me.
I know.
Yeah. Too good.
You could still break it off and put it in your drink.
We'll be serving up more delicacies
You've got crispy plants.
in about 40 minutes.
Loads to go out next hour.
Anyway, we are going to go through the papers in a couple of moments with Jennifer Powers and Kevin Schofield. First of all, though, if you're going away to get some sunshine, here's the forecast for some of Europe's top hotspots.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
It's hot and sunny for the Greek islands at the moment, and plenty of hot sunshine in southern parts of Spain and Portugal too. But for northern Spain and northern Portugal, a bit more cloud coming in off the Atlantic and some outbreaks of rain possible here. Small chance of a shower in Catalonia as well, but some heavy showers likely over Italy, particularly affecting Rome. There's that sunshine in Greece, which will continue into next week, and the showers in Rome should clear away, and temperatures will be rising here into next week too.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Kevin Schofield, Jennifer Powers with us now. Very good to see you guys. And they're going through some of the stories in the papers. Where do you want to begin?
Angela Rayner, shall we?
Yeah.
Kevin, you've been looking at that in the Guardian front page.
Yeah, so I was working on this story yesterday as well. It was a bizarre story. So it was the Unite conference, annual conference in Brighton, and they passed this motion suspending Angela Rayner because of the government's position on the Birmingham bin strike, which I'm sure we've spoken about before. We know this has been going on for a very long time.
Well, she's basically said to the union, just accept the deal, please, and get this over with.
Yeah, basically because they know that it's annoying, put it mildly, ordinary voters in Birmingham not getting their rubbish collected. But obviously this has really angered Unite, who represent the bin workers. Anyway, so largely symbolically, they came out yesterday and said, right, we're suspending you. Then Angela Rayner's people came back to us and said, well, actually, she's no longer a member of Unite and hasn't been for quite some time. So it was April, apparently, was the last time.
Do you think she anticipated this, Jennifer?
It does. Oh, sorry.
Well, I think she may well have, but I think the real story here is that it's a precursor to Unison re-examining their relationship with the Labour Party.
It's Unite, not Unison, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry.
But you're right. No, they also as part of this
Unison
motion.
have got over, and I think she is a member.
Well, she's still a member of Unison, so she was a member of both. But you're right. Unite said we're also going to look at our relationship with Labour, which potentially was £2 million they gave in the year up to the election.
They did, and including 5,000 to Angela Rayner. But I think there's this change going on the left with this potential new party with Zoltara and Corbyn and what's going to happen there, and whether Unite, which is traditionally the most left-wing of the Labour unions, of the Labour Party unions, might rethink its relationship and send its money and its support elsewhere. So that's where I think this story's going.
Yeah, it would be fascinating, actually, you're right, because when Jeremy Corbyn was the Labour leader, Unite were absolutely in lockstep with him, very close ties. Len McCluskey was the General Secretary of Unite at the time. He was effectively running the Labour Party alongside Jeremy Corbyn at the time, so it would be quite a schism if Unite were...
Well, there are schisms going on inside the Labour Party and inside the Parliamentary Labour Party as well at the moment.
There's an awful lot of dissatisfaction, I think, with how...
Okay, well, let's stay with union matters and let's talk about the doctors, whatever they're not... What are they called?
No, they're called resident doctors now. But basically what we used to call junior doctors.
Yeah.
And what's going on there, Jennifer? You've been looking at the Times front page.
Indeed. Well, there's a new poll out which is very different from the last time the doctors went on strike, junior doctors went on strike. It now says that only 36% of the public support these strikes and 49% oppose. And that's really no surprise because we all struggle with getting appointments on the NHS. And the last time the junior doctors went on strike, 1.5 million procedures and operations were cancelled. And, sometimes we can be waiting 3-6 months or longer for these things. So it has a real impact on people's lives. And so there's a couple senior doctors really warning their younger colleagues that they must be careful not to bust trust.
Yeah. Is Labour ever going to be able to deal with this? I mean, what are they going to do?
Well, this is a fundamental problem for Labour because, you know, they came in, one of the things they said was industrial relations between the public sector unions and the last Tory government bust, we'll come in, we'll fix it. Initially they did, they ended the strikes last year, but now they've obviously, the BMA have come back for more, and Labour have now turned around and said, no, we can't give you any more, this is disgraceful. But it will really have an impact potentially on waiting lists, which is one of the few areas actually where Labour have been successful since they came in. You know, they've brought down waiting lists from where they were, and this could really harm that.
If you're having a cup of tea this morning, what are you having it with? In number 10, if it comes to the nation's favourite biscuits, to Dunkin' Tea, at number 10, it's the fig roll, and number 9, a wafer, number 8, the shortbread, number 7, ginger nut, number 6, hobnob, number 5, malted milk, number 4, bourbon, then Miss Anne Diamond's favourite at
rich
3,
tea biscuits,
which is rich tea. At number 2, chocolate digestive, and Kevin at number 1.
Custard cream.
Yes.
I agree.
We wanted that music. Fluff Freeman. That was what it was like.
That's right, yeah. You've read out the football reports before, haven't you?
So, Jennifer, do you Americans dunk?
America, as you know, are not tea drinkers to the same extent.
Yes.
But I will have to have a special shout out for the Jammy Dodger because that's my son's favourite.
Oh, yes. Wouldn't
I know
disagree.
it doesn't make the top 10.
Yes. Wouldn't disagree.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to dunk with a jam.
Yeah,
but it would work. I think
but it's a challenge, isn't it?
It would work. It's a challenge that I'm up for.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would definitely
He
take on
doesn't
that
dunk
challenge.
it, but he just loves them.
Yeah.
A hobnob, but I love a
What
hobnob.
would we Brits do without our biscuits? We love them. I mean, again, I'm not sure that Americans understand why we love biscuits.
No, they don't have
and
that
what we
same
call
relationship.
biscuits. Yeah.
A cup of tea and a biscuit is one of
the
life's
big
great
treats.
pleasures.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And would custard cream be part of your pleasure?
I do like a custard cream. We're discussing this earlier. I like these finger creams, which are quite like custard creams, as the name suggests, are shaped like fingers. They're very good for dunking. I don't like chocolate digestives, though, because the chocolate
goes
melts.
before the biscuit has absorbed.
I'm nipping off to get something now while you have a look at the weather, and we say thank you to Jennifer and Kevin, and they're going to be back in about 40 minutes' time. Here's the forecast.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A sizzling, sunny summer Saturday for the vast majority. If you're waking up in eastern areas, then, well, it might just be a little grey outside. Mist and low cloud has been filtering in through the night. It's quite patchy in nature, and it is going to burn back to the coasts. Some beaches may stay a little misty, but for most places, it's going to be dry, it's going to be sunny, and it is going to be hot. Temperatures widely over 30 degrees Celsius across the heart of England and Wales. A little cooler in eastern areas, particularly if some of that mist and low cloud sticks, but we could easily again get to 30 Celsius across parts of western Scotland, so west of Northern Ireland in the high 20s too. It's going to be a warm night, a balmy summer's evening. This ha, though, is likely to thicken up at times and will affect some coast across eastern Scotland, particularly around coasts of the Northern Isles. For most of mainland Scotland, much of Northern Ireland, a dry and a sunny end to the day. Fine and sunny too for the majority of England and Wales. Again, some of this patchy sea fog just at times rippling onto the coast. And it will come back inland as we go through the night too. This mist and low cloud will again feature on tomorrow morning. But for most places, it stays dry. Stays clear. It's going to be a really warm night, especially in parts of northwest Wales and northwest Scotland. With the mountains playing a part, temperatures could hold up above 20 Celsius in some locations. Most of us dipping down to about 15 to 18 Celsius. So quite a warm, quite a humid night again. And it will be a hot day tomorrow too, but not as hot. Temperatures generally a couple of degrees lower. A bit more cloud in eastern areas. Even the chance of seeing a shower or two across parts of northeast England, southeast Scotland, but it is just a small chance. Most places staying dry. Still some of that mist and low cloud on some coasts, but generally another hot day. But things are going to change, turning cooler and a bit wetter early next week.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash. So make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Where Anna Riley, our intrepid reporter, is doing the toughest job in television right now, which is enjoying the sunshine. Anna.
Yes, Tom, it's definitely a tough gig for me today, I'll tell you. I'm on the Bridlington Fun Park ride here. This is the Zero Gravity ride. This fun park is, off we go. This fun park is right next to the sea. Oh, it goes quite quickly, I'll tell you. And people are out enjoying rides like this one. Off we go. It's a great boost for tourism, and we've been speaking to people here in Bridlington about what's so great about the sunshine. Let's have a listen.
We're on holiday. We've been here since last Friday, so we can't complain. It's been beautiful, and we're here till Monday, so we're really looking forward to the hot weather. As you can see, the sunburn.
It's lovely. It really is very nice. It's absolutely gorgeous. We deserve it, definitely.
It's good. We like the warm weather.
Yes, very nice. Loving it. Yes, like
the warm enough.
weather.
Woo! Well, this ride is showing no signs of stopping, and neither is the sunshine. We're getting that heat wave at the weekend. Enjoy the weather and enjoy fun rides like this one. Get to Bridlington and get to the fun park.
Oh my gosh! Absolute bravo, Anna Riley. What an incredible piece of television. I hope they let you off at some point.
I thought they'd only do it once or twice. Bless her.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good morning. Can the Prime Minister get voters back on his side?
As MPs look ahead to a summer recess, plans are afoot for a cabinet reshuffle following a torrid year in office.
Could a front bench reset get Starmer's premiership back on track after weeks of setbacks and controversies?
All of this comes as Angela Rayner is binned by Unite over recent bin strikes in Birmingham. The union has also announced it will review its relationship with the Labour Party, and we're speaking to the General Secretary of Unite later on the show.
A report into the Air India crash that killed 260 people last month has found that switches to the engine's fuel supply were turned off seconds after takeoff, and of course that ultimately led to the disaster.
In showbiz, Oasis are home. The band played its first gig in Manchester for nearly 16 years last night after kicking off its world tour.
Now here's an interesting one. Are celebrities a distraction to sports events like Wimbledon? We'll be debating that in about 20 minutes.
The author of the best-selling book, The Salt Path, has been accused of lying as the Observer newspaper claims the book and the film are highly misleading and spun from lies, deceit and desperation.
And have you noticed there's a bit of a heat wave at the moment? Well, it's set to peak this weekend. Temperatures apparently soaring to 34 degrees.
Reality has hit me. Those the words of Novak Djokovic after his dream of a record-equalling 8th Wimbledon title were dashed by world number 1 Jannik Sinner on centre court. But he has vowed to play on. We'll reflect on a dramatic afternoon at SW19.
Blue skies and rising temperatures, high UV levels today as well. Join me later for a full forecast to find how high the temperatures could go and how long this heat wave will last.
However you're watching, however you're listening, a very good morning to you. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
And I'm Ann Diamond. And you're watching GB News Breakfast. I didn't know whether I was upset at Djokovic bowing out. Oh, well, he was beaten yesterday. Or a lot of reaction from people is that he just shouldn't have pushed himself on. I mean, he shouldn't have put himself through that humiliation. I
disagree. I think the competitive animal inside him will push him on a bit more. I wasn't surprised when he said last night that he was going to carry on. And also, you know, Anne, it might just be an injury. It might just be an injury. In which case, why shouldn't he go on? He's got the motivation to do it. It's not about money. It's about winning that record-equalling 8th Wimbledon title to match Federer and overtaking Margaret Court to get the 25th Grand Slam. So I think someone with his motivation, someone with his competitive spirit will go on from here. And I don't want to see him go. I don't want to see these top stars leave tennis. Don't forget, he's number 3 or number 4 in the world. So he's well. He could earn several more million pounds if he wanted to.
Yeah, he doesn't need the money though. No. He's doing it because he wants to be the record. He wants to beat the record. Also, consider this: he's just stopped winning Grand Slams relatively recently. There's been loads of examples down the years. Pete Sampras had a lull between 2020 and 2002 where he didn't win anything, but he bowed out finally by winning the US Open. Roger Federer had 3 or 4 years, no Grand Slams. Oh, that's true. Then he did it. Then he did it the Australian twice and Wimbledon in 2018. So what do you think Djokovic will do next? Do you think he'll now take another couple of years? Yeah. Look, he only needs one of the top 2 to have a bit of an injury on off day. So what does he need to be the record? He needs to get another Grand Slam. To be 25. And another Wimbledon. To go to 8, which would equal Roger Federer, which nobody thought would ever be beaten. What's the next Grand Slam? US in September at Flushing Meadow. Second week of September.
I think it's too much.
He'll go for it.
Yeah. I think he's just got to the point where it's all just now a bit too much. I mean, your body's like a machine, and if parts of it are wearing out and breaking down, it says it all, really. Well, there's one opponent you'll never beat, and that's Father Time. Father Time. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And Father Time beats us now. Yeah. Because you'll be back in... Oh, you're back in a few minutes' time. Yeah. We're going to talk politics. We're going to begin this section of the programme. Thanks for joining us, wherever you are today. Plans afoot for a cabinet reshuffle. This has been a bad year in office for the Prime Minister, and he plans to inject more purpose into the government following weeks of setbacks. And, of course, this comes as Angela Rayner has been shunned by Unite, if you like, the union, over the recent bin strike in Birmingham. And that union has now announced that it's going to review not just their relationship with Angela Rayner, but with the Labour Party overall. And, of course, if they cut off, that means they're cutting off donations. Well, we're not cutting off the former Conservative Minister, Kevin Foster, who joins us now in the studio. Kevin, good to see you. What are you making of what you're hearing here?
Well, in terms of potential reshuffles, I always just think this is like a Prime Minister saying, look, the poll ratings are terrible, I'm really struggling with delivering an agenda, and I've concluded it's everyone else who sits around me's fault. The idea that just doing a reshuffle itself will turn round a government's fortunes is absolute bunk. I mean, you only got to look at the fact that Rishi Sunak did a couple and it made not a jot of difference to
Well, it depends ratings. How major a reshuffle would be.
Yeah, so it'd have to be Rachel Reeves, Angela or Wes Streeting.
Well, he can't reshuffle Angela because she's the elected deputy leader of the Labour Party, so he might love to get shot of her, given I suspect he
She's
thinks...
the threat, isn't she?
Yeah, she's the one probably with the eye on the crown very much at the moment. But if he gets rid of Rachel Reeves, well, hang on, whose economic policy was all this? Oh, it was Keir Starmer's. So Prime Ministers usually follow their Chancellors. It's very rare that they don't. Fire Yvette Cooper for failure over Smash the Gangs? Well, OK, but who's got much of a better idea in dealing with that one? And if it's like, as we're seeing in some of the speculation, things like changing who the DCMS secretary is, most people out there will be thinking, who anyway?
Yes.
So this sort of stuff just smacks of a bit of desperation. from a Prime Minister who's in trouble. And yes, Prime Ministers will want to change their team occasionally, but it's really, if he wants to reconnect with the voters Labour's lost, it's going to have to be a lot more serious and about real policy.
But Kevin, he is desperate. I mean, we have to accept he is desperate. So desperate times need desperate measures. What do you think that desperate measure should be?
Well, I would say he actually needs to look at his economic policy, but that probably would point to changing the Chancellor. But Keir is in such a weak position himself, I suspect that would actually prompt a lot of Labour backbench to think, well, if Rachel's going out the door, there's someone else who could do with going out the door as well, and namely Keir Starmer. But he does actually need to break down on policy. Most people do not really look at who is actually in the cabinet. What they're looking at is what it means for their daily lives. And if he wants to actually start rebuilding Labour's pretty shattered polling position, he has to start doing things on immigration that he might not have wanted to do. He has to start doing things on tax and the cost of living. You know, issues like domestic energy supply to start bringing down prices. Does he want to keep Ed Miliband with net zero? Those sorts of things, what will actually make a difference to him. But just, you know, filling around with middle-ranking cabinet members will make no difference.
Given that almost every time he opens his mouth, he mentions the word Farage, he's obviously feels that he needs to address the issues that Nigel Farage is addressing in order to sort of try and build his own popularity. But that inevitably means doing something about small boats, etc. And yet Yvette Cooper said nothing yesterday that convinces anyone.
No, yesterday their deal seemed to fall apart pretty quickly. There seemed to be no certainty on numbers, which is pretty key. You know, we already briefed out that it would be up to 50, which is better said, expressed as one boatload potentially being returned a week, with multiple coming over. And yeah, he keeps talking about Nigel Farage. In fact, he's probably actually doing Nigel Farage quite a boost by constantly talking about him. But it's not, if you want to rebuild yourself politically, just personally having a go at Nigel Farage, that's water off a duck's back for Nigel. He's had decades of being slagged off by various people and revels in it. If you actually want to do it, you're going to have to do policy stuff. So, for example, do you want to keep on Lord Hermer, once Jerry Adams' lawyer? Do you want to keep him on in the cabinet? You're going to have to take decisions like that and then actually change course because of it, not just replace the name with someone else who does exactly the same.
But we need action, don't we? I mean, everybody's saying it. We need some action from this government that's going to make a difference. And nothing so far has.
No, in actual fact, the difference it has made is a negative one, particularly when you look at what the jobs tax is doing in the economy. But Labour's, what's been strange is they knew for about the last 18 months in opposition, very, very likely they'd be getting to government. You look at how Tony Blair drilled the Labour Party pre-1997 for what we're going to have to do when we're in government. I can remember before 2010, David Cameron and George Osborne, with Conservative candidates, MPs, very clear, there's going to be tough decisions. This isn't going to be a cakewalk, very much preparing people for government. It seems Labour very much prepared for a general election. It didn't really sit itself down and say, hang on, in that first year, that'll be our best year to get stuff through, make a difference. You then spend the first year or two legislating, 2 years, 2 to 4, trying to deliver what you've legislated for, and then hopefully 4 to 5, you look as a government to take the benefit. This government has come in with a pretty weak legislative agenda, and now with the backbench rebellions we've seen, is struggling to get anything through.
Traditionally, I look at the Labour Party and I see it as the party, the representative of the working man and woman. We have this situation in Birmingham where the Unite Union are disassociating themselves from the Deputy Leader, Angela Rayner. Why are they doing that, and will this do her any harm?
I think first they're saying that they feel the Labour Party should be there, to represent Labour, and it was founded by the trade unions. And their Unite's argument would be, well, if you're not advocating for workers who are being supported by a trade union, what is the Labour Party for? The clue being in the name. And it'd be interesting to see if they then try and team up with whatever Jeremy Corbyn wants to do next. But actually, I think for Angela Rayner, this may not do her ultimate ambitions any harm at all, because the fear for a lot of Labour MPs in putting Angela into the top job, becoming the first female Labour Prime Minister, would be, would the public see her as Corbyn in a dress? She was one of the people who stayed loyal with Jeremy Corbyn all that time through. Yet she's also very pragmatic. For example, she was one of the Labour MPs who spoke against a second referendum on the EU. She much more gets where a lot of the people who've gone to reform from Labour, she's much more in touch with them than perhaps many of the, more London-based Labour commentariat So this might actually not do her any great harm in showing that she can go beyond just a Labour-based view.
And what do we think of the huggy-huggy, kissy-kissy relationship between Starmer and Macron? Because after the public display of affection again outside Number 10, Macron went on to make some quite damaging remarks in his speeches.
Well, it was certainly odd to see, although some people would say they got, perhaps the hugs this time, they've got a lot in common. They both are struggling to get anything through their parliament, and many expect them to be gone within the next couple of years.
But is this relationship doing any good?
No, well, I think the deal we've seen was hardly spectacular, and this is already starting to have lots of questions now about how feasible and what difference it'll actually make. And actually, you don't want to be daggers drawn with other world leaders, but similarly, you need to have a professional relationship, because ultimately you do need to stand up for your own national interest when you're dealing with people. This isn't a meeting of mates.
I thought it was quite insulting when Macron said the British public have been sold a lie about Brexit. I mean, whatever you think of it, we held a referendum. It was a democratic decision. And I think he was calling us stupid.
Absolutely. And I think, one, that never helped. The best way of, you always remember when the Brexit referendum was on, one of the best boosts for the Leave side was when someone like Macron commented on behalf of Remain, always helped win votes for Leave. And similarly, we can make comments about, was France and other countries sensible via referendums to abandon their own currencies and lock themselves into the euro? That would be equivalent of one of us going over doing that. So it wasn't the most appropriate things to say, but, both Starmer and Macron are desperately looking round for things to blame, and no surprise he's gone back to the one they love to point at.
OK. Kevin, we have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for your commentary this morning. Appreciate all that you've had to say. Come back and see us again soon. Thank you.
Yeah, one of our viewers, good morning, Poppy, says, Corbyn in a dress. Thank you so much for planting that image in my brain.
There we go. The weather, this good image today. Let's have a look and see what it's going to be like where you are.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A sizzling, sunny summer Saturday for the vast majority. If you're waking up in eastern areas, then, well, it might just be a little grey outside. Mist and low cloud has been filtering in through the night. It's quite patchy in nature, and it is going to burn back to the coasts. Some beaches may stay a little misty, but for most places, it's going to be dry, it's going to be sunny, and it is going to be hot. Temperatures widely over 30 degrees Celsius across the heart of England and Wales. A little cooler in eastern areas, particularly if some of that mist and low cloud sticks, but we could easily again get to 30 Celsius across parts of western Scotland, so west of Northern Ireland in the high 20s too. It's going to be a warm night, a balmy summer's evening. This ha, though, is likely to thicken up at times and will affect some coast across eastern Scotland, particularly around coasts of the Northern Isles. For most of mainland Scotland, much of Northern Ireland, a dry and a sunny end to the day. Fine and sunny too for the majority of England and Wales. Again, some of this patchy sea fog just at times rippling onto the coast. And it will come back inland as we go through the night too. This mist and low cloud will again feature on tomorrow morning. But for most places, it stays dry. Stays clear. It's going to be a really warm night, especially in parts of northwest Wales and northwest Scotland. With the mountains playing a part, temperatures could hold up above 20 Celsius in some locations. Most of us dipping down to about 15 to 18 Celsius. So quite a warm, quite a humid night again. And it will be a hot day tomorrow too, but not as hot. Temperatures generally a couple of degrees lower. A bit more cloud in eastern areas. Even the chance of seeing a shower or two across parts of northeast England, southeast Scotland, but it is just a small chance. Most places staying dry. Still some of that mist and low cloud on some coasts, but generally another hot day. But things are going to change, turning cooler and a bit wetter early next week.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
OK, now there's still plenty of time to grab your chance to win 54321 in pounds. Yeah, here's all the details you need.
We're here at Downhall in Essex to enjoy the finer things in life. And it's your chance to win £54,321 in cash. It's like having an extra £1,000 in your bank account each week for a whole year, which means that you'd be able to indulge in treats whenever you wanted to. That extra cash each week could send some of those day-to-day financial stresses packing this year to enable you to sit back, relax and do nothing. Make sure you don't miss out on our biggest cash giveaway to date.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Oh,
excellent.
Good luck. Where would you go on your holidays if you had that much money, hey? Anyway, look, we're going to be talking sport in just a couple of seconds. Aidan will be here, and we're debating whether celebrities are a distraction at Wimbledon. That's next.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain. He can say whatever he wants. A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Just before we go to the sport,
yeah.
Sue's been in touch and has written thusly. She says, the human brain is a wonderful thing. It works tirelessly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, from before you leave the womb right up until you vote Labour. Cheeky.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, boom,
There
boom.
we go. Aidan McGee, we're voting for him now. And Aidan, some sad news, first of all. Liverpool Football Club, they're going to retire, basically, the number 20 shirt today.
Yes, that's right. They've decided they released a statement yesterday. This is, just over a week after the tragic death of Diogo Jota, their striker, and his brother, Andre Silva, after a car crash in Spain, rather. They're going to retire the number 20. That was the squad number that he wore. But they're not just going to retire it for the first team. They're going to do it for the under-23s.
Really?
All levels of the academy and the women's team, after consultation with his wife. His wife, he'd only been married to, for 10
I know.
years.
I mean, the whole thing was just so blinking tragic.
Yeah, and Liverpool have said, we just had a picture there, I think, just a moment ago, if we haven't already. But
His widow visited Anfield, didn't she?
She did.
Yesterday, I think their pictures
She
are
did,
in the
and
papers.
Liverpool said that he will forever be our number 20. Liverpool's number 20. It's not the first time it's been done. West Ham retired the number 6 when Bobby Moore died, but they did it 15 years after he died. He died in '93. They retired it in 2008. Maradona's number 10 at Napoli was retired as well, and Johan Cruyff had the number 14 retired at Ajax. It's easier to do in the era of squad numbers.
Yes.
When it was the plain old days of 1 to 11, it was much more difficult, but now it's a luxury that clubs can do, and they use it to pay respect to their players.
Crystal Palace have been retired from the Europa League. Now, this is complicated. Explain this. There was a warning this would happen.
Yes, so let's cast our minds back 2 months. You and I were on duty the day after Crystal Palace sensationally won the FA Cup against Manchester City at Wembley with an Ebery Eze goal. Now, that should have marked not only the fact that they won their first major trophy in over 100 years and the first time in their history, but one of the benefits is that you go into Europe, you're going to play in the Europa League. Now, there's an issue here because there's such a thing in football as multi-club ownership, and a guy called John Textor has significant shares in Crystal Palace and a French club called Lyon. Now, Lyon were also in the Europa League. The problem here, Anne, is that if you have shares in both clubs, but they're competing in the same competition, there's a conflict of interest. It's completely open to abuse.
Well, do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying, right, well done, UEFA, for this. And these multiple owners, these guys that come in.
It's got to stop.
It's good. Do you agree?
I do, because, I mean, we had it in the 80s in domestic league with Robert Maxwell. He owned Oxford United, Derby County. He nearly bought Watford from Elton John. That would have been 3 clubs in the same division. There was a player, I was saying to you this morning, there was a player called Dean Saunders who was sold. Maxwell basically moved Dean Saunders from Oxford to Derby for supposedly £1 million, but £1 million never appeared in Oxford United's bank account.
No money exchanged hands.
No, so you just can move players around. So you can, if you're allowing this to happen, and you can't just assume when you take over these clubs, they're not going to play each other, they're never going to face each other. Well, it's happened now, and it ruined the whole European experience for Crystal Palace. They are going to be in the Europa Conference League, which is almost like the booby prize. Nottingham Forest could now come into it to replace them because they finished high up in the league. And Lyon got precedence in the argument between the two because they finished higher in the table than Crystal Palace did. So they took precedence and got through. But what a mess, and how guilty John Textor must feel, because he knew that he had to put his shares into a blind trust on March the 1st.
Well, the fans must feel sick.
Well, that's absolutely. It. To me, football must, at the end, be... I know it's about money, but the fans. And football inspires such huge loyalty amongst its fans. And anything that makes a match very difficult for any fans to watch is silly, isn't it? It's
Palace said they're going to appeal. Steve Parish, the chairman, said they're going to appeal this, but they've not got much time because the European competition starts in September. Nottingham Forest will have to be notified if they're going to take their place. If it's going to be them, it could be somebody else as well. And if you look at the situation with the ownership, the argument will be based on whether they can prove that Textor had influence on the decision-making, and that would be hard to prove.
Well, next time you're back, you're going to be talking about the Wimbledon final. Just tell us who's playing and which finals. Ladies today, men's tomorrow.
Ladies today, it's Amanda Anisimova of the US against Iga Swiatek. Tomorrow, it's Yannick Sinner against Carlos Alcaraz.
Aidan, see you in an hour's time.
And
Thank you very much indeed.
But who else was there? That's the big question. Wimbledon, almost over, you could say. So many celebrities in the royal box. They got their fill first, didn't they, of all the strawberries and cream. We've seen Gary Lineker. Hugh Grant falling asleep, Leonardo DiCaprio getting all the hot and sweaty, Bear Grylls. There were so many others. But are the celebrities actually a distraction from what's happening on the court? Watch the best of the best play tennis, for instance. Joining us now, Olympian Chris Akabusi, and showbiz journalist Sarah Louise Robertson.
Akabusi's a distraction. anywhere you go. You turned up at my kids' school once in Belfast. Do you remember this? And I mean, my goodness me, what a distraction he was. The kids loved him, absolutely adored him. So, you know, well done to you. But do you think it's a bad thing, Chris?
Not so much it's a bad thing. I just think it's an irrelevance, really. I don't think anybody, you know, the players don't care, the officials don't care, and the aficionados, those people who are so into tennis that this is their be-all and end-all, they don't care whether Hugh Grant is there or any other celebrity. It's about the event. It's about watching magnificent sportsmen and women doing their thing, the competition, the thrill of the chase, who's going to be top dog today, who's going to have that Boris Becker attitude. You know, no one really cares about the celebrities out there. Nice thing for the marketing department of the All England Club, nice thing for the TV show that's broadcasting to have a Me Too check us out, but actually it's an irrelevance.
Chris, are you on the golf course?
Yes, of course. I'm at the mighty Woburn. I'm going out on the Dukes in half an hour's time. Well, I just stopped to speak to you guys.
Oh, how lovely. It looks so nice.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Sarah Louise, what do you think that they're a distraction? We only see them when the tennis has actually stopped. So how can they be a distraction?
No, Anne, I think it's lovely. It's what's drawing people in to watch it. I would just like to point out some facts. Attendance at Wimbledon has reached through the roof. 526,000 spectators this year. Digitally, it's had a growth of 20%. There's a 70% increase on views on its app and other websites. And not only that, but it's attracting record numbers of US audience spectators, with 26 million being watching this year. And I think a big part of that is the celebrities that are coming into the Royal Box, because younger people want to see them. They want to know who's there, who's wearing what. And the Wimbledon Royal Box, it's become now the place to be seen. It's the new hottest ticket in town, literally. And that's where they're all wanting to go. It's not about Royal Ascot anymore. That's lost its way a little bit because we've seen drunk people, drunk and disorderly. Henley Regatta is a bit of an anachronism. It's now all about Wimbledon, the Royal Box, and obviously having Kate Middleton as, shall I say, the Princess of Wales.
Now, you see, that's what I was going to ask you about. I mean, Camilla was there one day, but I've been watching out for Kate, and we know that not only is she patron, but she loves her tennis, and she hasn't turned up yet, which makes me worry.
Oh, no, don't worry. She will be there. She's coming this weekend, and she will. And she's a massive fan. She also beats Prince William at tennis as well. When they play together, she's known to win against him. She doesn't like to miss the tennis. It's her thing that she's really, really, really passionate about. So she will turn up. I'm expecting to see her at the men's finals tomorrow. I don't think we'll see her at the women's finals today, but you don't know. She may surprise us, but we definitely will see her at the men's finals tomorrow.
So, Chris, if you were invited, would you rather be on the golf course? Do you think you would be a distraction if you were there?
I mean, of course, it's nice to be invited. You know, I remember back in the day back in the 90s when I was at my sort of zenith as a sportsperson, nice to be invited. But the question is whether it matters. I mean, I do agree, you know, the pizzazz, you know, Me Too. Everyone go, oh, look, I was there when Hugh Grant fell asleep. Oh, yeah, fantastic. But actually, the grand scheme of things, it's about the event. The day, let's put it this way, the day the celebrities are more important than the players on the court, you know, Wimbledon is over, baby.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there, isn't he, Sarah Louise? The celebrities are a little bit of glitz and glamour, but everybody is there for the tennis. I mean, we're quite serious about our Wimbledon, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're a sporting nation, Great Britain, and this is one of our biggest events in the sporting calendar. It's enormous. You can't, you know, emphasise that enough. I think with the celebrities, in terms of whether it would tarnish the sport, no, I disagree. At the end of the day, they are there because they love the sport. That's why, you might see the likes of Tom Cruise appearing today or tomorrow. We get these huge celebrities come every year. Anna Wintour, who's a massive tennis fan. She's great friends with Roger Federer. She made her appearance yesterday for the men's semi-finals. You have the likes of Benedict Cumberbatch. It is the regular faces that come every year, and I think that shows that they are genuine tennis fans. But really, the people that are making it, about the celebrities rather than the tennis stars themselves are the tabloids. And of course, it drives clicks and it drives sales. And women watching the sport like to know who's wearing what, who's the fashion. That's become a big thing, for fashion designers to showcase their clothes on the female actresses and models that are coming in. So yeah, it all adds in basically. It's like all of these things. It's about marketing, isn't it? And money and what drives revenue and what drives sales. And so
Sarah Louise, do you know how people get invited? I mean, what determines who's actually sitting in those seats?
It's their agents.
Well, it is a pecking order. It's a massive pecking order. So, the way that they look at it is who's going to be nearest to the royals. And your importance in your social standing or social status is directly about where you're seated in proximity to the royals who are there. So you'll see the likes of Anna Wintour. She was in the front seat. The big wigs. It's like being on the fashion rows when you go to the fashion shows. If you're not on the front row, you're a nobody.
Oh dear.
That's how it works. Yeah.
Well, you're somebody, Chris, you'll be teeing off in 28 minutes' time, and we haven't kept you back. So it looks you could be in Florida or Portugal or something there. It looks so good at Woburn.
It's absolutely, the weather is amazing. The greens are fantastic. I'm so much looking forward to going out there. I only play about 5 days a week.
It's a tough life. It really is. But thank you so much for joining us. It's been a joy to see you out and about.
Have a good game, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Sarah Louise Robertson.
Thank you, Sarah Louise. Thank you as
brilliant.
well.
Yeah. It's just lovely to go outdoors and see the sunshine, isn't it?
Yeah. You don't care who you see at the ground, do you? I mean, I do actually ask, how did they get in there? And I'm not there.
From a professional point of view...
You're seething, aren't you? You want to be there.
Seething. A little bit of stardust doesn't do any harm whatsoever.
Exactly.
Tennis is in a difficult moment for the reasons I've described many times in this channel for the last few weeks.
We saw big names. Picture of Leonardo DiCaprio there yesterday. Yeah. That's pretty major.
He was getting all hot and sweaty. And Rami Malek was there. And now you see again, it's something you notice. He was decked out in a lovely cream suit.
Beautifully
and he looked cool, Everybody else was getting a bit hot and all the rest of it and wondering whether to take their jackets off. He just sat there looking cool. He's amazing. Amazing.
My friend worked in accessorising in Wimbledon for years, and she served loads of the players down the years. Wasn't starstruck at all, not one bit.
What do you mean she accessorised?
No. She worked in Accessorise, the shop.
Oh, I see.
Right. Never heard of it.
Prue Leith was there yesterday.
She's 85.
I know,
Graceful.
and she looked fab. And thus she has made the front page. But she's there in a lovely long pink and white stripy dress, holding what looks like a Pimm's. And I don't blame her. And she, with a cowboy hat on, she looks absolutely fab.
There you are. If you turn
can I hold it up again there?
It was 12 quid for a Pimm's at Eastbourne a couple of weeks ago.
Is that right?
Well, I'll bet you it's worth it. There you go. Anyway,
very good. We'll go to the break. Thank you very much indeed, Aidan. Still to come, we're going to go through the papers. We say good morning to Jennifer Powers.
And Kevin Schofield.
Yes. And back with them after this.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, weekdays from 9 p.m.
Should we be paying more for the BBC, do you think?
Yes, in the short term. It's for a cost of a cappuccino a week. You don't only get all the television channels, you get all the radio channels, local news, you get the websites, you get World Service, a significant amount of that. You've got a vast range of things. It's not just a television licence. And the BBC licence fee, in real terms, has gone down about 40% in 15 years. What I think we need is two things. One is an immediate increase, significant increase, so we stabilise the situation.
Go on, how much,
And then
Roger?
we-
What's the fee? Go on.
Hold on.
Well, tell me how
And then,
much.
secondly, hold on, we need to have a proper debate publicly about whether we want public service broadcasting, how we want to deliver it, and how we want to pay for it. The BBC has cut as much as it can. We should now have a public debate about what we want.
OK. All right, the BBC's cut as much as it can. I mean, grief. I would love to try to see the BBC try to operate on the kind of budget...
I thought you were chairman, objective chairman here. It was a head-to-head with this lady, and you were going to be an objective chairman.
Yeah, well, you decided not to answer any of my questions. But anyway, June, I'll put this one to you. Well, what do you think about the money?
Yes.
June, what do you think about the money being paid for the BBC? Should we pay more?
In 2020, you lost 80, let's have a look, 80,000. And then by 2023 to 24, that went up to 500,000 licence fees not being paid. That's because they don't want the product. A lot of the reason is the biased side of the news, which is why people watch GB News. The programme making, I can understand the creative part of it, but what you've got to look at from the public's point of view is they pay their licence whether they're using all those facilities or not.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Let's get stuck into the papers now. We do that this morning in the company of Jennifer Powers and Kevin Schofield.
Yeah.
Very nice to see you both.
Good morning.
Right, let's start then, Kevin, with sinking the boats. Or doing something about the boats. And on the Mail front page, they're saying that actually Keir Starmer's big plan is really it's going to be sunk before it's even started.
Well, it feels like they're going to run into a lot of the same problems that the Conservatives did with Rwanda. It's not plain sailing at all. Now, this is obviously very different from the Rwanda scheme, but in essence, the principle is quite similar. Sending them back to France, getting them out of the country. Campaigners have vowed to take legal action to prevent this.
Of course. The minute they set foot on British soil, campaigners will be arming them legally, won't
Absolutely. And also other European countries like Italy, they're not happy about it either, because they're saying, well, hang on a minute, if they're coming back onto the mainland of Europe,
then there are problems as well. But they're not going to, are they? I mean, if you were one of those young men on a boat, you'd take your chances, because you know that Britain isn't really going to force you back anywhere.
Well, also, at the moment, anyway, it would appear, although even this number hasn't been confirmed, that it's only going to be 50 a week initially in the pilot period, which is...
Do you think it'll ever get to that number?
Well, I mean, if it's only 50 a week, then all you have to do is, if you get deported, you just take the next boat, because you know that one won't be stopped.
But 50 human rights lawyers will be arguing the case, and they'll make it almost impossible to have that 50.
And I think Labour is now finding, you mentioned earlier that, what a terrible year the government's had. Labour is now finding that all the same problems that the Conservatives faced in government are still there. And whilst they made it out to be easy and that they had better answers, and I think we all wish they did have the answers to fix a lot of these problems, the problems are still there. And unless and until we have deportation agreements with other countries where we can return these illegal immigrants to the country of origin, this problem will remain.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's funny, though, isn't it? I don't know, do you feel any compassion towards... I know we call them young men of fighting age. Don't mean they're going to fight nearly all of them. I mean, if I were their mum back in Syria or somewhere, I would have given them every penny I owned and said, try and get to England.
No, totally. No,
try and go for a better life. Why not? So, to a certain extent, I feel some compassion. And I know that's not the right thing to say nowadays, but...
Well, no, it is. I mean, it's a perfectly valid opinion. And, they are risking their lives. It's not an easy thing. I'll just hop on a boat and we'll end up in Dover, never know, be hunky-dory. I mean, a lot of people die, children die.
It's a mixed picture, and you know, we also know that some of the people coming over come over with criminal intent.
Yes.
And so...
But hopefully some
the minority,
don't.
the minority do.
Yeah.
But it is a problem that needs to be tackled, and Labour said they would tackle it, and people will hold them to account on that. And if they don't, then, well, where do they turn next? They'll turn to reform.
Well, it's not a mixed picture for the water companies, the utility companies. The same old picture, same old story, Jennifer. And we now hear that when it comes to our water bills, we will pay more for water during the summer, whenever there is a heat wave, when we actually need it.
Yeah, there's a front page story in the Telegraph this morning about water companies rolling out smart meter trials where households will be charged more at certain times a year and during heat waves. They call it surge pricing. And I think this is, you know, on the one hand, it's logical, it's rational, right? If you charge more, people will probably use less, and that's great. But this is a backdrop of the privatization of the water companies. Where a major reservoir for drinking water has not been built in this country since 1992.
So annoys me. I watched the news last night, and you get these usual stories of reporters standing by depleted reservoirs. Oh, look at this behind us. And I just look and I say, why is no one asking why wasn't a big hole in the ground dug behind that one there as well? Yeah. Of course it's going to be empty if there aren't enough of them around.
Well, indeed. I mean, thankfully they're building a new reservoir in Hampshire, but it will not come online for a few years. And literally the last one that opened was in Derbyshire in 1992. So there's been a real lack of investment in our water infrastructure.
And strategic thinking, looking ahead.
Reservoirs, and, you know, there are parts of the country where it gets a lot of rain, and we could bring that rain to the parts of the country that get a bit less. And we're an island. Energy costs with renewables, nuclear power, we can actually start desalinating water as well around the world. It's becoming more cost competitive. So there's really no excuse to have hosepipe bans in Britain. We have chosen this through the way that we have regulated and managed our water industry.
And we seem to tolerate the fat cats at the top. I know they're being deprived of their big bonuses this time, aren't they? Yeah. But we seem to tolerate bad service from them. Well, it's the norm.
This absolutely goes back to the way that these companies are regulated and allowed to take the money out whilst not investing it in the water pipes and the reservoirs that we need.
Your views, please have your say, and we'll reflect those throughout the programme. We'll be back with Kevin and Jennifer right after this short break. And if you are in search of some holiday sunshine, where hopefully there is plenty of water, here's what it's doing in the top European destinations.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's hot and sunny for the Greek islands at the moment, and plenty of hot sunshine in southern parts of Spain and Portugal too. But for northern Spain and northern Portugal, a bit more cloud coming in off the Atlantic and some outbreaks of rain possible here. Small chance of a shower in Catalonia as well, but some heavy showers likely over Italy, particularly affecting Rome. There's that sunshine in Greece, which will continue into next week. And the showers in Rome should clear away, and temperatures will be rising here into next week too.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here
we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Jennifer and Kevin going through the papers this morning, and the papers are going through the best places in the whole world. You don't have to agree with this, but they have New Zealand as the best country in the world. And I'm looking at the list here. Botswana, never been to. Costa Rica, never been to. The Maldives, I'd like to go to. Peru, never been to. You sort of go, never been to, and don't really care. If I go or not. I don't care if I ever go to Peru or not.
Well, I've been to Bolivia.
Right.
Which is the neighbouring
Which is
country.
apparently beautiful?
Yes. I mean, it doesn't have Machu Picchu, which is, I presume, why Peru is on the list. But it's definitely experience. It's not an easy place to visit.
Well, see, when you hear not an easy place, count me out.
Yeah. You don't want it to be an effort.
Where would you want to go?
Somewhere.
Where would be on your bucket list, or have you already done it?
Well, fun enough, this year we're taking the kids to America for the first time.
Yeah,
they've never been.
In America?
So we're flying to Boston.
Yes.
And then we're going to Massachusetts, further down like Cape Cod.
Yeah.
We're staying
Beautiful,
there.
lovely.
So, and then we'll get
Big
into
Irish
New York.
influence and all that area.
There is indeed. Yeah. Fun enough, I was out last night with a friend of mine who's Irish, who lived in Boston for 6 months, and he was telling me all the
You have your picture taken outside
all the bars
Cheers.
to go to.
Oh,
yeah. Although he says don't bother going in. He says it's a
No, not
letdown.
in, but the outside
yeah,
is Cheers, and it's worth a photograph.
Yeah,
I have to agree. The best holiday of my entire life was last summer when we did Arizona, the Grand Canyon, through Utah, beautiful red rocks, up to Wyoming, and the Tetons are part of the Rocky Mountains, cowboy country.
Well,
Absolutely
you hit
gorgeous.
the nail on the head. You mentioned cowboy to me, and that's my study. That's my period. That's what I like to, and I've seen a lot of it in the USA. But the trouble is, if you lived in America, why would you go anywhere else? You've got everything.
Well, that's why a lot of Americans don't have passports. Yeah. Never been bothered with them.
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale, I love. Love Fort Lauderdale.
I find Turkey to be a beautiful country.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Certain places you go to.
Advertising big time for tourists as well.
You like Cyprus, Anne, don't you?
I love Cyprus.
We've been there. We went a couple of times. Great holiday. Lovely. Really good.
But Malta as well. I mean, there are so many wonderful places. Yeah. But where you would choose to live is different.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's amazing how many people still come and live in Britain. Mad people.
Jennifer, are cats curious?
Apparently not, and I could have saved the researchers the trouble of doing the study. They basically showed cats toys, and then they moved the toy. And if the toy was moved, the cat wasn't interested because it likes predictability. And I thought, absolutely right. My cat, our family cat, she has her routine. Yeah. She's a creature of habit. So yes, cats are not curious.
despite the saying.
Despite T.S. Eliot was curiosity cat.
That's right.
Isn't
Killed the cat. Yeah, you know, ours is, we've got a cat as well.
Exceptions apply, but
sleep in the same place, walk along the same path in the garden. It's all worn away. They won't. It's so weird.
My cat actually naps at the same time. Her sleeping patterns are almost identical every day. Yeah, incredible.
It's such a great life.
Yeah.
But that's it. Cats know they've sorted it, haven't they? They've got everything sorted.
They've got their food.
Kevin, tell us about rogue parking operators.
Yes, I mean, this is, I think, one of the big frustrations for drivers, isn't it? There seems to be a proliferation now of different parking companies, and you have to have the app, and it's quite easy to maybe put in the wrong number plate, and you get fined for it because you get one letter out of place. Anyway, so the government have started a consultation to basically crack down on this. So they're going to bring in a higher cap of fines. However, the AA are saying the higher cap has now been set at 100, having the initial plans were for 50. So they say the government's actually bending the knee to these, they call them rogue parking companies.
That phrase, they've started a consultation, doesn't that give you shivers up your spine? Because that means they are paying some company probably hundreds of thousands of pounds to sort of do surveys and come up with ideas.
And they'll already
probably get nowhere.
Well, yeah, they've already probably have an idea exactly what they want to do anyway, so the consultation doesn't really matter. So, yeah, they're going through the motions, basically. I mean, it's getting a big write-up in the Mirror, which has been campaigning against hospital car parking charges. But this won't touch hospital car parking charges because they're all privately owned, so they can't do anything about it. It's not part of the NHS. So, yeah.
Jennifer, a third of us spend 3 hours a day on our mobiles.
I have to say, I think this survey is an underreporting of how much time we spend on our phones because The Sun has this story about a digital detox, and a third of adults, as you say, wanting to spend less time on their phones. It was a poll of 2,000 Brits. And some of the ways they do this is to put time limits or to put curfews or to reduce social media apps. There's actually a whole new category of phones coming out now that sit between a classic brick phone, like the old Nokia we used to have, and a full smartphone. The sort of middle or hybrid phones, which actually have reduced functionality. Some of them are targeted at children because, of course, social media does so much harm to children in terms of the horrific online content and cyberbullying and so on. But a lot of adults are wanting to buy these phones as well. So there's quite a few on the market. There's the Balance Phone, Pinwheel, Fusion X1.
Yeah, we're sort of rejecting the thing about smartphones that is making us vulnerable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's a good idea.
And destroying our mental health.
Yeah, it is a good idea, yeah.
OK, we've got to sort of wind you up here. Get rid of Anne Diamond. She's so woke. I knew expressing any degree of compassion might actually... does she not realise that the country is being invaded by thousands of young men saying that she would give them all her money? I'm not supporting an invasion, right? I just expressed a degree of humanity, but clearly some people don't like that. Should we go to the weather?
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A sizzling, sunny summer Saturday for the vast majority. If you're waking up in eastern areas, then, well, it might just be a little grey outside. Mist and low cloud has been filtering in through the night. It's quite patchy in nature, and it is going to burn back to the coasts. Some beaches may stay a little misty, but for most places, it's going to be dry, it's going to be sunny, and it is going to be hot. Temperatures widely over 30 degrees Celsius across the heart of England and Wales. A little cooler in eastern areas, particularly if some of that mist and low cloud sticks, but we could easily again get to 30 Celsius across parts of western Scotland, to west of Northern Ireland in the high 20s too. It's going to be a warm night, a balmy summer's evening. This ha, though, is likely to thicken up at times and will affect some coast across eastern Scotland, particularly around coasts of the Northern Isles. For most of mainland Scotland, much of Northern Ireland, a dry and a sunny end to the day. Fine and sunny too for the majority of England and Wales. Again, some of this patchy sea fog just at times rippling onto the coast. And it will come back inland as we go through the night too. This mist and low cloud will again feature on tomorrow morning. But for most places, it stays dry stays clear. It's going to be a really warm night, especially in parts of northwest Wales and northwest Scotland. With the mountains playing a part, temperatures could hold up above 20 Celsius in some locations. Most of us dipping down to about 15 to 18 Celsius, so quite a warm, quite a humid night again. And it will be a hot day tomorrow too, but not as hot. Temperatures generally a couple of degrees lower. A bit more cloud in eastern areas. Even the chance of seeing a shower or two across parts of northeast England, southeast Scotland, but it is just a small chance. Most places staying dry. Still some of that mist and low cloud on some coasts, but generally another hot day. But things are going to change, turning cooler and a bit wetter early next week.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
I'm Camilla Tominey. This is GB News, Britain's election channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
And Tom, look what I received this morning.
This is so sweet. Oh!
Isn't that cute? From one of our viewers and listeners. A little, I think it's homemade.
Shall I hold it up?
Yeah, you hold it up. And a little tiny matching hat as well, which is very cute. Goes up here. So there you go, a little matching hat. And also a lovely little blanket as well. Wow. This is from Judith from Leeds, who wrote me a lovely little letter, and to Patrick as well, wishing us well, saying that she loves watching our shows, and I hope we enjoy this little outfit. So there you go.
It's like your little baby is with us already.
So yes, Judith, I hope you're watching, because thank you very much indeed. It's really sweet of you to send that to me. It took a little while to get to us, but we've got it this morning, so that's so cute.
It's incredible craftsmanship, actually.
I'll make sure to take a little picture when the baby arrives.
Are you sure your baby isn't going to be French?
There's something French around it. It's a good thing I like France, so there you go.
Oui, oui.
That's very cute indeed. I just thought I'd say thank you, because it was a really nice surprise this morning.
Yeah, no, it is actually really, really lovely. It does, I mean...
Does it bring a tear to your eye, Tom?
Well, we haven't really...
Feeling very emotional?
I was going to say...
New life?
We haven't really mentioned, your pregnancy in a little while. And
after the big reveal.
You're still with us for a few months more before your due date.
I have to depart, yes.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you've got me for a little longer. We'll see how it goes.
Marvellous
See how
stuff.
it goes. It'll be rolling me in. Before I leave this desk.
It'll be a GB baby.
GB News baby. GB baby.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hello there, very good to see you. Question, can the Prime Minister get voters back on his side?
Yes, as MPs look ahead to their summer recess, there are lots of reports about plans for a cabinet reshuffle, maybe in the autumn, because, of course, it's been a terrible year in office for the Prime Minister, so is he going to change things?
Well, so could a frontbench reset get Starmer's premiership back on track after weeks of setbacks and controversies?
And, of course, this comes as Angela Rayner has been shunned by Unite, the union, over recent bin strikes in Birmingham. And the union has also announced that it's going to review its relationship with the Labour Party overall. A bit later on, we're going to be speaking to the General Secretary of Unite, Sharon Graham.
A report into the Air India air crash that killed 260 people last month has found that switches to the engine's fuel supplies were turned off seconds after takeoff.
And Oasis came home. The band played their first gig in Manchester for nearly 16 years last night after kicking off their world tour last week, and they're playing again there tonight.
The author of the best-selling book, The Salt Bath, has been accused of lying as the Observer newspaper claims that the book and the film are highly misleading and spun from lies, deceit and desperation.
Tens of thousands of people will take to the streets of Durham for the 139th Miners' Gala, the largest trades union rally of its kind in Europe.
The heat wave is set to peak this weekend. Temperatures will soar to 34 degrees.
Reality has hit me. Those the words of Novak Djokovic after his dream of a record-equalling 8th Wimbledon title were dashed by world number one Jannik Sinner on centre court. But he has vowed to play on. We'll reflect on a dramatic afternoon at SW19.
Blue skies and rising temperatures, high UV levels today as well. Join me later for a full forecast to find how high the temperatures could go and how long this heat wave will last.
On this Saturday morning, very good to have you on board. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
And I'm Anne Diamond. And this is GB News Breakfast. Well, I'm getting it in the neck still, but there you go. Just for showing some degree of compassion. And no, I don't support an invasion of illegal migrants. I would have thought you'd know that by now. But maybe not. OK, no criticism.
You know, there is a difference, though, I know from being a reporter, as to what you can comment on and how you view things when you experience them. And you may surprise yourself, you know, you may be anti-migrant and whatever, but if you see people and children on those rafts and boats, it may change your mind. It may not. It may not. That's up to you.
OK, apparently we're both Metro Champagne socialist lovies.
Both of us.
Both of us.
Are you dragging me into
Yeah, no,
it?
I've dragged you into it now. You too, you're a champagne lover.
I don't mind champagne.
No, exactly, at Wimbledon.
I do. I can't stand champagne.
Really, I can only have one. I don't
it makes
mind
me hot, and I don't drink alcohol anyway, but...
Heartburn, does it give you?
Gives me heartburn,
It gives me heartburn
flush.
if I smell it.
Really?
Yeah, and I used to love champagne, but I can't drink anything wine-related.
Ceremonially, I like it when you turn up to something and it's on a tray for you.
Yeah.
Just have one.
That's so nice.
That'll do me. That's fine.
But it's interesting, you know, when you go to functions and things, and are you ever with someone who literally, and it's usually women, who are literally licking their lips, they're literally salivating over the idea of a glass of wine or a gin and tonic or a champagne or whatever.
Yeah, but I heard you saying earlier you just don't understand people who crave alcohol because you never have.
But I don't understand people who crave a cup of tea or crave a cup of coffee either. You know, people say, I'm dying for a cup of tea. I could murder a cup of...
Yeah.
My dad used to say it's not the taste of it that matters that much. It's like some people just want it. As long as it's wet and it's warm, that'll do.
But it's also the ritual, isn't it?
Yes.
There's something comforting about holding a cup of tea and maybe a biscuit.
But we learnt today what your favourite dunker is, your biscuit
yes.
to dunk in
tea.
tea.
I did have a message that wasn't too critical, saying ginger nuts, were they mentioned? And yes, they were number 7 in the top 10 biscuits.
And
number 3 was...
though...
Oh, ginger nuts. Oh, they're lovely, though, ginger nuts, aren't they?
Wouldn't be for me.
They've got a kick.
I like the winner, custard creams.
Yeah, custard creams,
lovely.
Great. Yeah.
You a dunker?
Yeah, I am, but I like the sort of... I don't like to dunk unless I've got some chocolate on it, because I like the melt, but you've got to take it out at the right time, otherwise it breaks.
It breaks.
You get mush at the bottom of the cup. You've got to get it just right. If you get it right, there's no better taste.
Well, a jammy Dodger may be a good biscuit for you.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Although I like it when the jam goes a bit warm as a result of putting it in the tea.
Well, you see, it's all very scientific, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
I was bemoaning during one of the breaks about the demise of the tea lady in an office, because I'm long enough in the tooth to have been at the BBC when you'd be sitting at your typewriter with chunky typewriters as well in those days, and you'd wait for the tea lady to come round, and she would, just like it was Mrs.
Slocum. Mrs. Miniver, Mrs. Doubtfire, yes.
Well, yes, she did. She always looked a bit like Mrs. Doubtfire, and she'd come round with the trolley, and it would jingle and jangle as she came, and then she'd have just made a big urn of tea, and you'd get a sort of paper cup with your tea in it, and a Kit Kat. And that was worth dunking as well.
Yes.
But everybody around the table, when I mentioned it, went, oh, yes, it was lovely the days of the tea lady.
When I was at Sky...
Does anyone work in an office where there's a tea lady anymore?
When I was at Sky, someone used to go around with a tray of sandwiches, and they sold a lot more units because people couldn't be bothered to queue up.
Mrs. Overall, that's who I was thinking of.
Very true. 6 minutes past 8 o'clock on this Saturday morning. Aidan will be with you in about 10 minutes' time. And on the news front, plans are reportedly afoot for a cabinet reshuffle.
Very exciting, or not. It's been a torrid year in office, of course, for the Prime Minister. And apparently, if he does reshuffle, and this is what's being hinted, it would inject more purpose into government, following weeks, of course, of setbacks and controversies.
Now, this comes as Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner has been binned by the Unite Union over the recent bin strike in Birmingham. The union's also announced it will review its relationship with the Labour Party overall.
Political commentator Suzanne Evans joins us now. Morning, Suzanne. Do you think he will reshuffle, and would it do any good? And who would the likely contenders be for a reshuffle?
Well, this is fascinating, this is. You know, when the Prime Minister calls an away day at Chequers that there's trouble ahead, because historically they always has been. You also know that when a Prime Minister says, this is not a reset, the chances are that it is going to be a reset. Let's not forget, the Labour Party have had the most appalling year. Just about everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong, culminating perhaps this week in the fact that the economy shrunk by 0.1%. And let me just remind you that Labour, of course, in opposition, were very anti-Liz Truss's budget, which sent the markets haywire. That month, GDP went up by 0.9%, so they are looking absolutely desperate at the moment. The Prime Minister himself, of course, his position is arguably under threat. His popularity ratings have absolutely plummeted from about +10 before the election to down to as low as -66 in some polls. So I'm just thinking back historically, when a Prime Minister has called an away day like this, it's always gone horribly wrong. Most famously, perhaps in 2018, when Theresa May was trying to get her Brexit deal through, that all completely fell flat. Ministers who had turned up to Chequers in their ministerial cars were warned that if they resigned, they'd have a mile-long walk to the gate and a taxi ride to get back home. So perhaps it wasn't surprising that David Davis and Boris Johnson waited to resign until the next day. And then, of course, famously, when Boris called his own away day, he was out within a matter of days when Sajid Javid and Rishi Sunak resigned after that. So maybe this is a taste of things to come for Keir Starmer, or maybe he'll have better luck. We'll just have to wait and see.
Suzanne, here's my confusion, my genuine confusion about a socialist administration. As a socialist administration, as a Labour government, I expect them to be there as friends of the worker, friend of the working class. And I look at so many things, whether it be the winter fuel allowance, and we could go on and on and on, where it seems to be they're not there on behalf of the ordinary person. The bin strike in Birmingham could be another indication where we hear Angela Rayner coming out with ridiculous claims, I think, for a socialist minister to be going on about saying that they should accept a deal, that they should accept £8,000 off their salary, that they would take a pay cut of that ilk, as opposed to maintaining their standard of living. Does she really expect someone to see her as a champion of workers by saying, take an £8,000 pay cut?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Angela Rayner has certainly set herself up as the best friend of working people. She's bringing forth her workers' rights bill, which has set alarm bells among businesses who feel it's going to be very, very hard to discipline or to fire people. And yet here she is now being accused of trying to get through fire and rehire practices herself by Birmingham City Council, and let's not forget that Birmingham City Council is technically bankrupt. And part of the reason for that bankruptcy is it had to pay out basically around about £760 million to women who claimed that because they were in mostly female-dominated roles, they were not paid as well as men in traditionally male-dominated roles. So the problem Birmingham City Council has got is that if it pays men more, it might very well reawaken those equal pay claims, and Birmingham City Council could find itself in even deeper financial straits. So in a sense, the government is caught between a rock and a hard place. And I guess this is what happens when you have a traditionally Labour supporting trade union come up against a Labour council that is faced with the harsh realities of what has been working legislation and basic anti-discrimination law. So it really is very problematic. The real problem, I think, for Labour is that because Angela Rayner is saying she's refusing to back down on this, not only has she suffered the ignominy of effectively being kicked out of Unite, although I understand she'd already left some months ago, the problem is Unite is Labour's biggest donor. In the year before the general election, Unite gave the Labour Party £2 million. I believe they paid them some £70 million since records began being kept by the Electoral Commission. So this is potentially a real flashpoint for Labour, not just because it makes them look as though they're not standing up for workers, which traditionally, of course, their party has always been proud to do, but also because they could be losing a huge amount of money, leaving it very difficult for them to fight a newly reformed Conservative Party under Kemi Badenoch and reform come the next election.
Yeah, there's a lot of work for all the parties to do, actually, in the next few years, isn't there? Suzanne, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Now, 12 minutes past 8. Today, followed at the wrong time. Tens of thousands of people will take to the streets of Durham for the Miners' Gala.
Yeah. Now, this is commonly known as the Big Meet, the Big Meeting. It's the largest trade union rally of its kind in Europe, and it features a parade of banners from former colliery communities right across the whole country.
Our reporter, Jack Carson, is on the ground in Durham. What's happening there, Jack? Anything happening yet?
Well, we're just outside Durham at the moment. We've just had, unfortunately, you've just missed it, a lovely brass band and the banner be walked down this village in this community here. But you're right, this is to celebrate the collieries and the history, of course, that this area has, to mining, but also celebration of working class life. We're at the Davy Lamp, appropriately named, of course, for the lamps, of course, that those miners would use to be able to see. But come into the pub, because we're going to speak to the landlady here, Julie Davis, because all around this pub, is reminders of this place's mining history. Julie, just in the middle of you getting ready for what is going to be a busy day today, just kind of tell us about what mining means to communities like this.
Mining means everything to communities like this. This building's been stood for nearly 200 years, and as long as I can remember, all the community come together on Durham Miners' Day. And it's a celebration of the heritage, and it's just remembrance of our past forefathers, our ex-miners, everything.
And is that you've got miners, and people coming here, who maybe haven't been a miner. They know the connection that this area has, and you can see, some of the things on the wall as we've just been showing our viewers. This building has been there since the start of all of that, since when the pits were first sunk.
It has. It was sunk around about 1837. Like I say, this building was created it was like a wooden building for the settlement, and there was wooden houses along there, so this was the first building that was built, and it was in connection. It's very unique because the connection is called the Davy Lamp. There's not many pubs trading that still got connections with the mining industry, and we still stand it. And it's down to the community that keeps this pub going, it keeps us afloat.
Now, the gala is not without some controversy, especially this year. In the May elections, Reform won the local council. They've not been invited to speak at the event. What do you make of that?
Well, we think it's absolutely disgraceful. It's gone from like a mining gala, of the heritage and the remembrance of our people, to something politically. They're giving too many people a political platform, and unfortunately I think this may be the beginning of the end of Durham Miners' Gala. How can you put Palestinians, speakers, on a stage when you can't put reform on. And reform won the local general election. And the majority, and I don't know anybody in this village who did not vote for reform. We want to be heard. We're a little small village and we need to be heard. We are the working class and we matter and we are a voice.
Why do you think, in areas like this, ex-mining communities, which were always Labour heartlands, why in local elections and what could be in the general election, why are areas like this, traditional working class communities, moving away from Labour, who want to be the party of the working class?
Because they're sick of the lies. They want honesty. They want common sense. And like I say, they're just sick of it now. And we think reform is the way forward. We've got our local councillor, Kyle Jenner. Absolutely fantastic for the community. He's done more for this community than anybody. He comes in and he mixes with the locals, and this is what it's all about: honesty and upfront. Anybody can ask Kyle anything, and he'll tell them. You know, he's helped out the school. He's a cracking guy, and I think because Kyle's coming in, we all vote reform, and he's just reassuring us with his honesty of what's happening.
Julie, thank you so much for joining us this morning and giving a perfect way for us to start the day here. We're going to be in Durham a little bit later on to see all of those banners and things as the Miners' Gala gets underway, the 139th. This place is full of history, and of course we're here today to celebrate that.
Yes, quite a spectacle. We look forward to joining you a bit later on in the programme then, Jack. Thanks very much.
You've got the weather for it.
You have got the weather for it.
And the shirt.
Yeah.
But it hasn't got the light. That's the end of that. Let's see where that weather's spreading around the country. It's going to be good, I think, almost everywhere. Here we go.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A sizzling, sunny summer Saturday for the vast majority. If you're waking up in eastern areas, then, well, it might just be a little grey outside. Mist and low cloud has been filtering in through the night. It's quite patchy in nature and it is going to burn back to the coasts. Some beaches may stay a little misty, but for most places, it's going to be dry, it's going to be sunny, and it is going to be hot. Temperatures widely over 30 degrees Celsius across the heart of England and Wales. A little cooler in eastern areas, particularly if some of that mist and low cloud sticks, but we could easily again get to 30 Celsius across parts of western Scotland, so west of Northern Ireland in the high 20s too. It's going to be a warm night, a balmy summer's evening. This har, though, is likely to thicken up at times and will affect some coast across eastern Scotland, particularly around coasts of the Northern Isles. For most of mainland Scotland, much of Northern Ireland, a dry and a sunny end to the day. Fine and sunny too for the majority of England and Wales. Again, some of this patchy sea fog just at times rippling onto the coast. And it will come back inland as we go through the night too. This mist and low cloud will again feature on tomorrow morning. But for most places it stays dry, stays clear. It's going to be a really warm night, especially in parts of northwest Wales and northwest Scotland. With the mountains playing a part, temperatures could hold up above 20 Celsius in some locations. Most of us dipping down to about 15 to 18 Celsius. So quite a warm, quite a humid night again. And it will be a hot day tomorrow too, but not as hot. Temperatures generally a couple of degrees lower. A bit more cloud in eastern areas. Even the chance of seeing a shower or two across parts of northeast England, southeast Scotland, but it is just a small chance. Most places staying dry. Still some of that mist and low cloud on some coasts, but generally another hot day. But things are going to change, turning cooler and a bit wetter early next week.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Adrian's been in touch. Morning, Adrian. He says it's pronounced the Miners' Gala. It is actually, isn't it?
Gala, not gala.
Not gala. I think it is. Historically, it's always been called Gala.
You got me on that one then.
Yeah.
A gala.
And a gala. Yeah. And we've got lots of comments about tea ladies. I'm going to try and find them. Because the trouble is, when you scroll through the Your Say thing, you then lose a lot of what you actually thought would be good. So I'll look them up. Meanwhile, let's tell you about the 54321 in pounds that you could win in our Great British giveaway.
Well,
the
that's
details.
A gala.
Gala.
Good one. Anyway, here it is.
Wouldn't matter, would it?
This is your chance to enjoy luxury this summer. It's our biggest cash prize to date, an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash has to be won. What would you do with that? With all of that cash, you could just chill out, treat yourself, and indulge in the finer things in life. Somewhere like here, Downhall Hotel and Spa. You really could win the cash giveaway of the summer. Go on, treat yourself.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
You could employ your own tea lady if you won all that. We've started a thing about tea ladies. Lillian says, I was a tea lady in a hospital clinic. The look on patients' faces when you asked if they wanted a cuppa, sheer relief, because some of them were scared of seeing the doctor or nurse because of what illness they had. I always served it in a proper cup and saucer with a selection of biscuits. Digestives were always the favourites of the patients. See, isn't that lovely? Thank you very much. Tea ladies are still alive and well. Were there ever tea gentlemen, I wonder? I would have thought so. But do get in touch with the story. I'll find the others. I've lost them on my computer at the moment.
Right, up next on the programme, there's a best-selling book which has been turned into film called The Salt Path, and the author of this has been accused of telling big fibs, big porky pies. So Suzanne Holder, friend of the programme, author and journalist, is going to give her view on all of that next.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Okay, hello, very welcome. You're welcome. Lovely to have you there. If you know somebody that's not watching us, go and knock their door or phone them or something and tell them Eamonn and Anne are here this morning. Now, we've got an interesting one for you because there's a big film coming out called The Salt Path, and it's a best-selling book as well. But what's the problem, Anne?
Well, in The Observer, they've been doing a bit of a dig around this, and their reporters are claiming that the book and movie are highly misleading and, quote, spun from lies, deceit and desperation.
Which the author, Rainer Wynn, of course, denies. Her memoir tells of her and her husband's failed investment in a family friend's business, and it led to the couple becoming homeless while her husband was coping with a terminal illness.
And that's basically the whole story it involved. They went on a 630-mile hike with barely a pound to their name. Let's take a look, because we've got a little clip of the movie.
We've done extensive tests. All we can do is give you guidance.
You should take me back to the shop and get a different one.
Don't want a different one. What? Can I withdraw the £1.38, please?
You've got to pull it!
This is wrong. Just all of it.
So, I mean, it's a good story, and Gillian Anderson does, I mean, a star-studded cast, so as a movie, it may do as well as the book. It was a bestseller. But is it true? The Observer has launched this investigation into the book and true story-based film, and they claim the couple embezzled 64 grand, and they've called into question the severity of the husband's diagnosis. So it's all getting a bit murky. I wonder if our friend of the programme, as you said, author and journalist Susan Holder can make anything of it. Were you aware of all this before it sort of blew up in on the Observer, Susan?
Well, I wasn't aware that obviously the story of them walking this coastal path that transformed their lives in many ways. As you say, they lost they'd lost their home. They had no money. The husband has had had a terminal diagnosis of CBD, which is a brain condition. I was aware of the book. I have to say I hadn't read it. I picked it up and not finished it. I was waiting for the movie because I'm a big fan of Gillian Anderson and Jason Isaacs, and I did think it was a cracking story. And it's a very British kind of story in many ways. It's a middle-aged, middle-class couple with triumphing over adversity. But unfortunately, it now seems through the Observer's allegations that it may be a story built on shifting sands. Because what the Observer have claimed is, I mean, I think we'll come to the kind of illness part of it later. I think it's very wrong to kind of speculate too much about what the husband's health may or may not be, because he may well have something and we don't know. And that is something that's obviously very difficult to kind of go into. But what they do allege in the story is that instead of being just made homeless through a bad investment and through bad luck, that Rainer Wynn, they also revealed these aren't their real names. They're actually called different names.
Oh.
But yes, so their real names are Sally and Timothy Walker. And Rainer is a name that she uses, which a lot of people use a pen name, and Moth is a shortened version of Timothy. But they claim that when she worked as a bookkeeper for a family business in Wales, she embezzled £64,000. She then borrowed £100,000 to pay off that, to stop any charges being made. And when that loan was called in, she lost her home. Now, in her statement since the Observer have run the story, which she says is misleading in many ways, she does apologise and admit mistakes may have been made when she worked there, but otherwise it's misleading. So we're in very murky waters. And
Right. Well, let me demurkify the waters here. I'm listening to this. I don't know the book. I don't know the film. And I don't care. I sort of sit here and I think, why should I care, Susan? Why should I care if it's fact or fiction? I mean, if it was fiction, I'd take all the support and say, that's a good story, that's fine. So why does it make a difference if it's true or not?
Because it wasn't, billed as fiction. It was billed as unflinchingly true and honest. That's what's on the book cover. That's what's on the on all the publicity. And I think the public don't like being kind of hoodwinked one way or another. I'm a journalist turned author. Now, I write fiction now, and if I wrote a story that was somebody else's true story and claimed I'd made it up and was fiction, I'd get into a lot of trouble, quite rightly. And people don't like to be hoodwinked in that way. And I think you might not care, but this book sold 2 million copies worldwide. It's been made into a film starring Jason Isaacs and Gillian Anderson. A lot of people did care, and they care because at the centre of the story, we're talking about somebody transforming their life through, very bad fortune, whichever way they got into it. But also, when we do come to the health of the man, they're basically claiming that this walk, he was given a terminal diagnosis, and it's now been 12 years. And the average kind of length of time to survive with that illness apparently is 6 to 8. Now, I know firsthand that terminal diagnosis can be given and then something happens along the way to change it. And when my husband was given 6 months to live, we kept it very quiet. We didn't tell anybody. 5 years later, when he was doing well, we decided, I'm married to Noddy Holder, he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer in 2018, possibly why I didn't pick this book up at the time, actually, because I was a bit distracted. But when we went out and talked about it, Nod was telling people that the doctors told him his positive mental attitude did such a lot of good and it really helped him. And that is very true, and a positive mental attitude is a great thing. But I was also very keen that we made clear that the heavy dose of chemotherapy he had an awful lot to do with his survival and how he reacted to it. And it wasn't a miracle. But right. I know, just talking about it, how many people have contacted me thinking we have the answer. There's a miracle cure out there that we know about that we can help them with, because people get desperate when they get these diagnoses.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I get that. And if the book was sold as a true story, and if the film is being marketed as a true story, then it's important we know that it's not, actually. And then the money scandal is sort of a completely separate thing that they must sort out.
Well, it is, but then again, if it's true that that person, that Raina Wynn is the person who embezzled £64,000, what it does, of course, is it kind of calls into question integrity and honesty, and that's why then other questions. But as I say, it's murking it up, and I feel terrible for Moth, who is obviously suffering from some sort of illness, and you don't need this sort of stress on top of it, do you? But no. I hope the money they have made through the sales of the millions of books and the film deal that we got, I hope they've invested that wisely, because they have now that she's had 2 sequels out. The third is now on hold.
My goodness. It's such a bestseller, and it's eluded both of us. Well, Susan, we've got to leave it there. We've run out of time, but thank you so much for explaining it.
Yeah, and we'll now explain what the author of The Salt Path is saying about all of this. So this is from Raina Wynn, and she says the Salt Path is about what happened to Moth and me, that's her husband, after we lost our home and found ourselves homeless on the headlands of the southwest. It's not about every event or moment in our lives, but rather about a capsule of time when our lives move from a place of complete despair to a place of hope.
The journey held within those pages is one of salt and weather, of pain and possibility. The Observer were offered the opportunity by my lawyers to discuss in detail the allegations made against me, to correct their inaccurate account and to be guided on the truth, on the basis that the discussion would not be made public. However, they chose not to take it, preferring to pursue their highly misleading narrative. Interesting. At least she's had her say there. But I'm sure the Observer are not going to put it down, are they? Right, do stay with us. 8:34, still to come. It's the Wimbledon final this weekend. Aidan McGee will have all the latest for you. That's next.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30am.
Only on GB News.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3pm.
French authorities first seized the Lady T, and that's an Eastbourne-based fishing vessel. And next, They fined its skipper, Philip Edwards, €30,000 to release his boat. Now, the Lady T, operating legally under UK jurisdiction, was intercepted by a French patrol ship near the Somme Bay. Now, the incident has sparked massive outrage among British fishermen and is renewing calls for the government to stand firm against French overreach in national waters. Well, I'm delighted to say I'm now joining with Charlotte Edwards, who's the husband. Philip is the skipper of the Lady T and is out fishing right now. Charlotte, welcome to the show. I've got to say, here at GB News, we are hugely supportive and appreciative of British fishermen and fisherwomen. Do a fantastic job. So if you're nervous about the interview, please don't be. I want to ask you how on earth this happened. I mean, there's been a lot of talk, for example, that the Lady T didn't have the correct paperwork, it was fishing illegally, and the French decided to pounce. What's the reality?
The paperwork just slipped through. It was an admin error. The other two boats had the permits, and unfortunately, his didn't at the time. He wasn't in as far in as they said he was. He was about 800 metres in their water. He wasn't near the 12-mile.
He was intercepted by the Pluvier. That's a French Navy ship. No, by the way, the sort of French Navy ships that just seem to give an escort to illegal dinghies coming into British waters, suddenly pouncing into action. The only boat they've managed to stop seems to be the Lady T.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Aidan's joined us. Before we go to the sport, though, we were mourning the passing of the tea lady, but there are lots of tea ladies still out there.
Are there?
Carol from East Sussex says, when I first went to work in London in the 60s, we had a tea lady who came round in the afternoons and we had tea in a china cup and saucer and biscuits. We were more posh than Anne, who just had a paper cup at the BBC. True. And then Boo Boo says, I work in a school and we have a tea coffee lady in the staff room every 10:40 a.m. and she brews percolated coffee and puts toast, crumpets, all sorts, every day. It is the highlight of our day. Yeah, I can imagine after you've taught a couple of lessons, you go to the staff room and there are crumpets. It would be beautiful. I love a crumpet.
I knew a guy who bought Gillingham Football Club in the mid-90s. The club was hemorrhaging money. He bought it out of administration and they weren't selling enough of anything. And one of the things he said was, like, we've got to bring the food to the punters. And he got my little brother with a tray with a strap around his neck.
Oh, yeah.
Half-time, going among the fans, selling Mars bars,
Lovely.
Snickers, other chocolates are available, and tea, and their units went up.
That's
because
like the
people
way
got
ice
up by the
cream
queues.
sell in a cinema at half-time, don't they?
The idea that we're attracted to queues is a myth. It makes it scares us away.
Everybody hates queuing. It's nice if they come to you. Anyway, tell us about the sport. What are we starting with?
Well, look, we've got this amazing match tomorrow between Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. Alcaraz got shot of Novak Djokovic got shot of Taylor Fritz in 4 sets yesterday. Yannick Sinner saw off Djokovic in straight sets. We'll hear from Djokovic in a moment, but I'm wondering now, given that we saw these two play each other in the French Open at the end of May and Sinner was 2 sets up, he lost it in 5. I don't know if that's going to have a psychological effect going into tomorrow's match. But is this the dawn of the eminent rivalry in this sport? And we love to see rivalries. We love personalities in sport. You know, you asked me last week about who my favourite pundits were. The reason I like Roy Keane is because he shies away from all this stuff about tactics and team.
Yes, they can bore you rigid about that too much, can't they?
There's more to it than that. But it's, the reason we're engaged with sport, and any area of life, is, or even politics, is because of personalities. And this is one that's developing here, a rivalry. There's huge respect for each other. But if we think back to the great rivalries back to the golden era of tennis, McEnroe and Borg, the ice-cool Swede against the temperamental American with a huge tantrum problems on court. And we think back to Keenan Vieira. It was built on malice. It was built on fire, wasn't it? You remember those massive matches between Man United and Arsenal. We think back to Coe and Ovett. Coe was very much the corporate guy, wasn't he? He went into politics. Ovett was a much more complex character who, at the end of his career, just disappeared to Australia and never really came back. We never really got to know him outside of the sporting arena. But these are what piqued our interest, and that's what that's the essence of sports. It's competition and the personalities when they grind up against each other. Yeah, and I think this could be the next one. Sinner and Alcaraz, two very different characters. Alcaraz is more open. He's more sort of personable. Sinner has a very sort of steely determination about him. He also has the doping thing hanging over his head as well. But in terms of Djokovic, he's been up against Nadal, Federer, Murray all his career. Let's hear what he had to say after yesterday's defeat to Yannick Sinner.
I don't think it's bad fortune. It's just age. The wear and tear of the body. As much as I'm taking care of it, and the reality hits me, right now, last year and a half, like never before, to be honest. It's it's tough for me to accept that, because I feel like when I'm fresh, when I'm fit, I can still play very good tennis, and I've proven that this year. But I guess playing best of 5 and particularly this year has been a real struggle for me physically.
No, but he's not giving up.
He's not. I was with some journalists last night in Wimbledon who've been covering Djokovic all over the world for the last 15, 20 years, and they said he just cut a little bit of a different figure in that press conference yesterday. Not necessarily someone who's ready to give up, but he was aware that his body is not quite what he was. In fact, you could argue he was beaten by a better version of himself yesterday in Yannick Sinner.
It's interesting, when they think of retirement and what's coming next, and he's only, he's 38?
Yeah. I mean, look, Federer won slams at 36, 37. It depends how lucky you are with injury. Generally speaking, Djokovic has been very sort of kindly treated by the gods in terms of injury, not much more so than Rafa Nadal ever was, for example. But I think he might have one more slam left in him. Just because those two are ahead of him, it doesn't mean... The thing is, also, when you lose a few matches, you're going to get unkind draws. It means you're going to have to beat both Alcaraz and Sinner if you're going to win a trophy.
It does. Who's going to win the trophy today, the women's title?
I'm going to take Iga Swiatek for that, just because, she's up against Amanda Anisimova. It's a great story, her as well.
I'll go for Anisimova.
Well, I thought, look, Swiatek... Everyone thinks she can't play on grass. All her slams have been away from Wimbledon, but she did win Junior Wimbledon, and she's been showing impeccable form this week. We'll see how she gets on.
Aidan, cheers. Thank you very much.
One more tea, lady.
All that today.
Charlie's been in touch, says, at the Beatson Cancer Hospital in Glasgow, where my wife of 40 years is going through cancer care, they still have a tea lady who goes around the whole hospital giving out free tea and biscuits every day. It is such a welcome sight. Isn't that lovely?
Lovely.
Really?
Right, we'll take a break. We'll go and get a cup of tea and biscuits and whatever. Back with Jennifer Powers and Kevin Schofield with the newspapers right after we bring you the Holiday Sun.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's hot and sunny for the Greek islands at the moment, and plenty of hot sunshine in southern parts of Spain and Portugal too. But for northern Spain and northern Portugal, a bit more cloud coming in off the Atlantic and some outbreaks of rain possible here. Small chance of a shower in Catalonia as well, but some heavy showers likely over Italy, particularly affecting Rome. There's that sunshine in Greece, which will continue into next week, and the showers in Rome should clear away and temperatures will be rising here into next week too.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
Because you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back at 8:47. You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Eamonn and Anne. And we're going through the papers now with Kevin Schofield and Jennifer Powers, who are both here. Thank you for coming back.
Hello.
Shall we kick off with, Kevin, the Times front... Oh, it's actually on page 13. A bit buried away, isn't it? About Donald Trump, when he comes on his state visit, may be denied the honour of addressing Parliament.
Yeah, so... As you say, Anne, it's his second state visit, which is unprecedented. He was here before in 2019, didn't address Parliament then. I think I seem to remember the Speaker at the time, John Bercow, was like, no chance, that's not happening. And this time he's not going to speak either, because they have come up with what's described as a sort of creative way to avoid it. So he will come when the House is in recess. MPs will be away for party conference season. So there's no MPs and peers to address. So there'll be no speech, which I think is going to annoy him, because when you look at the list of previous presidents who have addressed Parliament, Barack Obama, who
that will annoy him,
dislikes intensely,
yeah.
Bill Clinton, Ronald Reagan, President Zelensky, another one who he doesn't like very much, he addressed Parliament. Just last week, Macron, French president, at his state visit, and yet Trump will have been here for 2 state visits and won't have addressed Parliament.
But they'll do it during recess.
Yes.
And they'll do most of the flummery in Windsor.
Yeah, because Buckingham Palace has been renovated. So
that's a good excuse.
It is a good excuse, but
because they must be terrified of lots of protests.
I remember that from the last time. Now, traditionally, a head of state gets the full, obviously, pomp and ceremony.
Yeah, the carriage ride down the mall.
Well, it says here that they are going to come up with creative ways to add some form of ceremony without a full public carriage ride element. So he's not going to get that either.
I think that's regrettable. The fact that we can't give a state visit because we're worried about protests. I mean, what does that say about this is... It shouldn't matter. Win. It's letting the protesters win, absolutely, but it shouldn't matter that you don't like Trump. The fact is he's head of state of you know, the most powerful country in the world, largest economy. He is the head of state. And so Britons should have more courtesy. They should, you know, allow that to happen. We have the Chinese leader, a dictator, come.
Yeah.
And we give him all these wonderful
he went for a pint with the Prime Minister.
Well, indeed. And so I just think it's a very sad state of affairs if we let the protesters win and we can't have the carriage ride down the mall. And quite frankly, the police should be able to ensure that there is sufficient security to allow that to happen.
Yeah, but I think given the state of Parliament at the moment, I mean, I think they must be very worried about members of Parliament making a protest.
I think that's right. But again, I think it's a very sad indictment of the parliamentarians that they cannot act with respect to another country's head of state.
Yeah, no, I agree completely.
Well, apparently the request for addressing Parliament has to come from the Lord Chamberlain's office to the Speaker of the House. And the Speaker of the House has today confirmed that he has had no such requests.
Yeah, and also the King is annoyed at Trump anyway because of what he's been saying about Canada becoming 51st state, which is obviously part of the Commonwealth. I think that is annoyed.
It's very embarrassing,
Charles,
isn't it?
I shouldn't call him Charles.
But don't we snub Trump at our peril? Really?
Well, indeed, we've spoken about trade policy in the past, and we do know he's a mercurial figure. And there's another story today, if we're happy to move on to the Telegraph.
Yes, let's.
So Trump is threatening sanctions to cripple Russia, which is quite a change of tune because he came into office pledging that he would be able to
but he's fed
sort
up
out
with
the war.
Putin has double-crossed
He's lost
him.
patience. He's lost patience, and he seems to have turned on Putin. And he's now supporting a bipartisan sanctions bill, which would cripple Russia's economy, some are saying. And he's also approving a weapons package, which unbelievably is the first new weapons package that would go to Ukraine since he became president. And they are getting a bit low. And this would include the Patriot missile system, which is incredibly important for protecting Ukrainian cities from Russian attacks. So it could be some good news for Ukraine.
Yeah, it's a real volte-face, isn't it? From not so long ago, they were shouting at Zelensky in the Oval Office.
Which was terrible, wasn't it?
Sucking up to Putin a lot of the time. But I don't know, we've been here before. You're right, he's been changing tack. He has been criticising Putin and then sort of pulling back and saying, actually, he wants peace. But I think finally, it may be that his patience has finally run out with Putin. We shall wait and see.
The story that's going mad at the moment in the social media and throughout is not in the papers. And, of course, that's about the Air India crash.
So tragic.
Oh, God, it was so awful. But apparently the airline industry requires that after 30 days there's always a preliminary report. And since they found both of the black boxes, they are able in their preliminary report to say that it looks as though two vital fuel switches were switched off.
Yeah.
And that we heard the pilots remark on that.
And these are they're manually switched off. It's not.
They're difficult to switch off, apparently.
Absolutely,
you have to lift the lever and then...
It takes a lot of effort.
Exactly, and that's obviously to prevent
Sounds like sabotage or a major malfunction.
Well, I suppose it's very dangerous at this stage to sort of talk about it very much, but it is a terrible thing to learn, isn't it? That one pilot apparently turned to the other, and we don't know which, and said, "Why did you switch that off?" And the other one says, "I didn't." But it looks as though fuel, so far, 30-day, there will be a lot more months to report again. But so far, it looks as though fuel was denied to the engines at a vital time, even before they'd pulled up the undercarriage.
Yeah.
And that may be what led to the disaster. But obviously, that's
the obvious question is why and how.
Why would those switches have been switched off?
Very strange.
There's a mystery.
Very strange.
And every sort of former airline pilot I've seen interviewed about this says it is not something that accidentally happens.
For very good reason.
Yes,
because
exactly.
it's so obviously
So either
important
there's a major malfunction or something happened.
Yeah. But the comment from one pilot to the other, quite haunting, isn't it?
It is awful, isn't it? Can you imagine hearing the final moments? Absolutely dreadful.
Folks, thank you very much indeed for this morning. Enjoyed your company. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll say goodbye to you.
Go off and enjoy the weather.
We will.
Yeah, thank you.
This is what
6
it's going to be like for you.
6 minutes now to 9 o'clock. I hope you're enjoying the weather. And if you're not, well, here's what's going to be good.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A sizzling, sunny summer Saturday for the vast majority. If you're waking up in eastern areas, then, well, it might just be a little grey outside. Mist and low cloud has been filtering in through the night. It's quite patchy in nature and it is going to burn back to the coasts. Some beaches may stay a little misty, but for most places, it's going to be dry, it's going to be sunny, and it is going to be hot. Temperatures widely over 30 degrees Celsius across the heart of England and Wales. A little cooler in eastern areas, particularly if some of that mist and low cloud sticks, but we could easily again get to 30 Celsius across parts of western Scotland, so west of Northern Ireland in the high 20s too. It's going to be a warm night, a balmy summer's evening. This har, though, is likely to thicken up at times and will affect some coast across eastern Scotland, particularly around coasts of the Northern Isles. For most of mainland Scotland, much of Northern Ireland, a dry and a sunny end to the day. Fine and sunny too for the majority of England and Wales. Again, some of this patchy sea fog just at times rippling onto the coast. And it will come back inland as we go through the night too. This mist and low cloud will again feature on tomorrow morning. But for most places, it stays dry. Stays clear. It's going to be a really warm night, especially in parts of northwest Wales and northwest Scotland. With the mountains playing a part, temperatures could hold up above 20 Celsius in some locations. Most of us dipping down to about 15 to 18 Celsius. So quite a warm, quite a humid night again. And it will be a hot day tomorrow too, but not as hot. Temperatures generally a couple of degrees lower. A bit more cloud in eastern areas. Even the chance of seeing a shower or two across parts of northeast England, southeast Scotland, but it is just a small chance. Most places staying dry. Still some of that mist and low cloud on some coasts, but generally another hot day. But things are going to change, turning cooler and a bit wetter early next week.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash. So make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Welcome to the Bakerloo line, where over the last year, 2 years, every single carriage seems to have been just absolutely covered in graffiti. So we're out this morning to try and do what the Mayor, Sadiq Khan, seemingly can't. Let's clean up the tube. Look, these doors used to be covered in graffiti, but no more. See, it's not impossible.
Not impossible it is, because there is so much that can actually be done. And just a few friends of mine, actually a guy called Joe Reeve, who organised this all, he's from the campaign group Looking for Growth. And he got in touch and said, do I want to come? And I was like, absolutely, I bloomin' do. Because I think we can show some pictures of some of our work, which was just on Sunday morning. And it was actually remarkably simple. What we did was we sprayed the graffiti with sort of anti-graffiti spray, eco-friendly anti-graffiti spray, actually, as it is.
I didn't know that was a thing.
A bit of scrubbing, and look, it just comes off. I mean, this stuff is not rocket science. A total lack of imagination, a total unwillingness to do anything about the sort of social decay that we're seeing in our cities and the country at the moment. A laziness, a profound laziness and lack of political will at the heart of the governance of London that means that people are just like, oh, the washing machine's everything's broken, we'll just live with this social decay. Well, no, you don't have to live with the social decay. You can come up with new ways to do things. You can give some people some sponges, some water and some graffiti spray and get that stuff off. It's not impossible. Pull your socks up, Sadiq. Do something about it.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good morning. The question of the day, can the Prime Minister get voters back on his side?
And that could be you. As MPs look ahead to the summer recess, plans are afoot for a cabinet reshuffle following a Tory year in office for the PM.
So could a front bench reset get Starmer's premiership back on track after weeks of setbacks and controversies?
Now, this comes as Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister, is binned by Unite, the union, over recent bin strikes in Birmingham. They've also announced it will renew its relationship with the Labour Party overall. We are speaking very shortly live to the General Secretary of Unite, Sharon Graham.
And a report into the Air India crash that killed 260 people last month has found that switches to the engine's fuel supplies were turned off seconds after takeoff. And ultimately, they ask, it must have led to the disaster somehow.
Oasis are home. The band played its first gig in Manchester for nearly 16 years last night after kicking off its world tour last week.
And tens of thousands of people taking to the streets of Durham today for the 139th Miners' Gala, the largest trades union rally of its kind in Europe.
The heat wave continues, set to peak this weekend. Temperatures expected to reach 34 degrees.
Blue skies and rising temperatures, high UV levels today as well. Join me later for a full forecast to find how high the temperatures could go and how long this heat wave will last.
A very good morning to you wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
And I'm Ann Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast. Gala. Yeah. I was told it was Gala, and I've always heard that it was Gala. So that reminded me, but am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know.
Never heard of it.
Durham Miners' Gala.
But anyway, it's very gay. Anyway, it's lovely.
It'll be wonderful. Wonderful weather for a big gala.
For anything. Yeah.
I've been talking about tea ladies all morning and wondering whether there were any tea men.
Yes.
And Tina has been in touch. This is a grand one. A tea man that I can think of, she said, was Trevor Baker, the weatherman, who now he's very well known in the southern region. He was always Trevor the Weather. And I remember that. He was the weatherman. He used to do rounds voluntarily at Southampton General Hospital.
Oh.
It was a bit of a shock when I saw him there, but evidently he was always there doing the tea.
That's a nice thing, isn't it?
That's a wonderful thing to do.
So there's like a spare time and he cheered people up by doing that. That was a service.
Yeah, and we got another wonderful tea lady story. Hang on, I'm just going to find it. It's really difficult finding these things sometimes. Here we... yeah. This is a nice one. In the 60s, during my school holidays, I would work as a tea lady for my mother's company. She worked at a music accountant's to many stars, and I loved working there because, taking the tea round, I met famous people like Marianne Faithfull, Sean Connery, the Rolling Stones. So morning and afternoon, I would make tea and coffee and push my trolley around and supply all the stuff with tea and coffee, and I absolutely loved that job.
And you just didn't know who you would bump into?
No, isn't that fab? Yeah. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for getting in touch. We've got even better stories.
You know, I hear kids talking about work experience and they go, oh, what's the point? I don't want to do this, or whatever. But I think,
so important.
I mean, just the socialisation point of it, you know, to have met somebody like that in your life, to have rubbed shoulders, to have mixed, to have...
And you never know what effect. This is a lovely one from Sally. Thank you very much, Sally. She said, just recently I had a tumour the size of a lemon removed from inside my heart at Glenfield Hospital in Leicester. On my second day in ICU, I was given untold strength, from the tea lady, who said to me, "We'll get you through this, it's one day at a time." And that still reduces me to tears now. I would never be able to thank her enough for those words on that day.
One day at a time.
Oh,
there's that song,
lovely?
Isn't there?
Yeah.
One day at a time.
With a cup of tea.
Sweet Jesus, with a cup of tea. And asking for you.
I just
Anyway.
think, thank you so much. Those lovely stories.
4 minutes past 9 o'clock. Plans are reportedly afoot for a cabinet reshuffle. This follows a Torrid year in office with the Prime Minister planning to inject more purpose into the government.
Yeah, that's an extraordinary phrase, really, isn't it? But he has had a few setbacks and controversies. And, of course, it's coming as Angela Rayner has been shunned by Unite, the union, over the recent bin strike in Birmingham. The union has also announced it's going to review its relationship with the Labour Party overall.
Well, delighted to say hello, good morning and welcome to the General Secretary for Unite Union, Sharon Graham. Sharon, good to see you.
Hello.
Sharon, could I say something? Every time I see a union representative being interviewed on television, they're hard done by. Reporters hate them, programmes hate them, you're always the bad guys and whatever, with one exception, not me, right? I'm looking at what you've done to Angela Rayner, and we'll talk about other things, but she represents a socialist government. And you have pointed out she's not representing the workers, meaning the bin people in Birmingham. And I say it's quite obvious she's not, and well done you.
Well, look, Eamonn, what I'd say to you is that, just to remind your viewers what this situation is about, we have got around 400 workers in Birmingham who woke up one morning and were told that they were going to lose up to £8,000 of their pay. That is
Sharon, totally agree. How you could then go to a person, it's as simple as that, and go to someone and say, look, just settle this and take £8,000 off your salary, just sort it out. How anybody representing a socialist government and people could actually say that, that is absolutely appalling.
Well, I mean, what it shows, Eamonn, to me, is that yet again, everyday people are paying. Why are everyday people, workers, why are they the ones that are paying for the incompetence of Birmingham City Council, the government, the council debt? Why are those people paying? They should not be paying. And actually, they're saying they're doing this under the guise of equal pay. Well, equal pay is about pushing women's pay up to men's, not pushing men's pay down.
Now, of course, they'll all argue that they can't afford to pay women equally, but I'll put it to Anne sitting there. I'm not advocating that. I just look at this situation, Anne, and I honestly think there is right and there is wrong to do, and it is wrong to ask these people to take such a massive pay cut, no matter what the reason has been.
Yeah, the only trouble, Sharon, is no matter if people see your point of view or take an entirely different point of view on this, and of course there is the idea that Birmingham Council hasn't got any money anyway, the main point is that something's got to be done, hasn't it? How are you and the government going to cut through and actually sort things out?
Well, look, it would be helpful, I suppose, if the decision makers were in the room. The leader of the council in Birmingham has not been in the room once. I mean, I find that an abdication of responsibility. He has not been in the room once. He's come onto programmes and said nobody will lose any money. And either he's lying about that or he doesn't know, because, of course, people will lose money. Now, there are ways to deal with this that we have suggested. There's a council debt where the council are paying back to the Treasury £250 million a year. Now, they could restructure the debt, frankly, stop profiteering from it. The repayment has got extra money on it that means the Treasury is actually profiteering from council debt. It would cost a very small amount of money to get this solved. We've put those things forward. They need to take up those things and make sure that these people can go back to work. It's totally and utterly abhorrent, and I am not going to allow workers to be treated in this way.
Right, so you're treating Angela Rayner the way you're treating her and barring her for the moment from your union. But there are those who have said to us this morning, Sharon, that this plays into Angela Rayner's hands, that it makes her look much more moderate for any leadership challenge.
Well, look, this is the problem about, when workers are in struggle like this. Remember, Eamonn, this isn't about a pay rise. I mean, if this was me coming on saying where they're asking for a 20% pay rise, etc., although I might think that's right, there may be differing views about that. I don't think anybody listening to your programme this morning, thinks that anybody should wake up one morning and have a quarter of their pay taken out of their pay packet because the council has mismanaged what's been going
Sharon,
on.
you would be surprised how vicious people are. We get people getting in touch with us saying, what's the problem? They should take a hit. Everybody else, we're suffering, they're suffering. No one cares less. As long as their bins are emptied, I think it's appalling that people don't have the sort of social conscience and decency, the way you're outlining the argument. You've got me. I totally agree. You can't wake up and say to somebody, you're going to take 8,000 quid less and be happy with that.
No, absolutely. And you know, Eamonn, we've been speaking to the people of Birmingham because sometimes it's important that people understand the situation. The leader of the council, as I say, hasn't been in one single negotiation. When we've spoken to people about what's actually happening, that people are going to lose money, actually the residents of Birmingham, of course, they want their bins. Everybody wants their bins to be collected, but they absolutely understand what is happening to these workers and been massively supportive. We've had people from the community coming onto the picket lines. Look, there's a really easy answer to this. The government needs to intervene. The commissioners in this situation, Angela Rayner, why she's in play this morning is Angela Rayner has the commissioners reporting to her. I did a deal in ACAS, a ballpark deal that broadly everybody accepted. The MD of Birmingham City Council went back, supposed to come back in 48 hours with all that written up, went off for 3 weeks and said to me, Sharon, the commissioners won't accept the deal. So in essence, what's the point of negotiating in the room in Birmingham if in truth the decision has been made by the government? And that is why Angela Rayner is in the frame, because she is aiding and abetting fire and rehire of these workers. They're on a contract, they're being told that contract no longer exists, and you have to work on less pay or go.
Yeah,
That's fire and rehire. That's what
it is complicated. It's not just about a pay cut, which is what some people outside Birmingham think it is. But what does this say about the disintegrating relationship, which is astonishing to think of now, between Unite itself and the government? I mean, you said that you're going to have to seriously rethink your relationship, which, if I were Keir Starmer, I'd be quaking in my boots about that, because historically you've always been one of its biggest supporters and donors.
Yeah, and you know, and I think the thing here is that everybody can't be wrong. You know, I mean, if I was Labour this morning waking up, I'd do less of, trying to do a Houdini act and muddy the waters. And I'd be thinking, how did we get to a situation that 800 delegates are in Brighton from a significant backer, the most important backer really to Labour, from sectors, from defence all the way through to buses, from every region of our nation. And it was almost a unanimous vote, bar 5 people from 800, that said they wanted Angela Rayner suspended and they wanted us to redefine our relationship with Labour and seriously look at that relationship. I would be thinking something has gone badly wrong. If they choose to keep putting their fingers in their ears, I won't be their problem. It will be workers leaving Labour in droves. That will be their problem. They need to wake up and smell the coffee.
Well, thanks for waking up for us today, Sharon. It's been lovely talking to you, very interesting talking to you. And I'd just say we don't talk to you enough. I'd love to know more about what's going on with that dispute and where it's going. And people quite conveniently forget that this thing has not been resolved and these people, their whole jobs and their income just being decimated. So good luck to you, I would say. And thanks very much indeed for explaining things this morning.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Sharon Graham from Unite. Nice to have.
No doubt we get people criticising us for that this morning.
For even having her on and being balanced?
Well, I just believe nobody, I don't care who you are, if this happened to you, you would not say, well, that's OK, I'll hand you £8,000 of my money, and then I'll be happy to come back and take this quite really smelly job and work my socks off.
Vital job.
Oh, and listen, I did the bin rounds in Belfast as part of a programme every 2 weeks, and I never found one bad or discontented bin operative. They loved their job, they loved everything they did, they were treated well by the community, but the people who are really filthy in all of this are the members of the public. If you saw the dirt and the filth created by the members of the public, you just wouldn't believe it. we need these people, and rather than cutting $8,000 from their salaries, we need to be paying them $8,000 more, I would have thought.
I just stand up for a few people in Birmingham who are really organising the rubbish, though. I mean, I agree with you. Some people are taking the opportunity to just dump anything at the end of the street.
Yeah.
Not outside their house, but others are organising ways of picking it up and organising it, getting it to the tip or whatever. So there are some very good people in Birmingham as well. Shall we talk to political commentator Suzanne Evans? Suzanne, so what do you think of that? Isn't that interesting? That, basically, that she came on and gave the Unite point of view and may well have changed some people's aspect on it.
Yeah, I've always said, long time, that two people in society, two groups of people in our society are very underpaid. That's bin men and carers. I think they both get a bad deal, and I don't think society respects them enough. But look, let's look at what Sharon Graham said. Incendiary stuff there. She said workers will be leaving the Labour Party in droves.
Yeah.
The Labour Party is beset with problems at the moment, and potentially here is another huge nail in their potential coffin. So they've got the new party set up by Jeremy Corbyn. They've got the threat from reform in their so-called red wall, traditional local Labour voting areas. And now you've got their biggest donor, Unite, the trade union, who's given them some £70 million since we started counting, since the Electoral Commission started counting, potentially threatening to remove that funding for them. This is potentially disastrous. You know, you could look at this two ways, couldn't you? You could say, well, Unite are going to capitulate. They're never going to break ties with Labour. They're dyed-in-the-wool Labour supporters. This is just a tactic they're using to try and hold Birmingham City Council to ransom. Or maybe it isn't. And if it isn't, then potentially this is very, very serious indeed for Labour, who have not just relied on the trade unions for funding, but have relied on them for foot soldiers to get out there to campaign at election time. And never underestimate just how important that is to every political party to have boots on the ground to help get your message across. Vital.
We've got so many messages coming in, a bit like this one from Janine saying, I would consider myself right-wing, but I strongly support the Birmingham bin men. Get Unite on more often, supporting them, I agree. And a lot of people are saying how impressive she was and that we don't always hear that point of view. And it's important to present a rounded comment.
Well, I'm telling you, I'll say this against my own profession. Journalists who interview union people immediately start with, I'm the goodie and you're bad.
Oh, they try and trick them, don't they?
Yeah, you represent a union, therefore you're bad. They're never listened to, or... I mean, the reason, again, I'm so positive about this, I always remember my father, he used to pay his union fees every Friday night, and he always would have said, there's none of them... He would talk about politicians, he said, there's none of them for the working man. And I believe that, and I was a union representative for many years, doing various things for journalism. But I do think they need representation, and we need to take people seriously. They're not all bad people who are representing unions.
So there's an interesting one, Suzanne. If working people feel that what we used to call working class people, is that a terrible comment? But you know what we mean by it. If working people can't turn to Labour for support anymore,
who do they turn to?
Well, I think the answer's probably got to be reform, because I think working class people don't see the Conservatives as being part of them. But look, let's be honest, the Labour Party has changed beyond recognition in the last 100 years. My great-great-grandfather stood for Parliament at the turn of the last century for the Labour Party. He was a miner. He was somebody who went down the pits. He didn't get elected, unfortunately, but that was exactly the kind of person who you had standing for the Labour Party back then. Nowadays, you look at the people who become Labour MPs, they've never got their hands dirty, or very rarely got their hands dirty doing a traditional working class job. They are products.
They don't do any jobs.
Well, you'd certainly look at the cabinet, for example. There's nobody there that's, for example, ever run their own business. And I think that's part of the problem we've got with this particular Labour government now taking a hammer to business, because it simply does not understand how business works, how it operates, what it needs to succeed, to fuel the economy, to make everything work, to make everything grow, which is translated, of course, into the dire economics stats that we're seeing.
Suzanne, we've got to say goodbye to you. I'm sorry, the clock has beaten us, but enjoyed listening to you, and thank you very much indeed for your analysis this morning. Thank you.
Right, let's hope Suzanne has a lovely day today, Saturday, or if you're taking part in gala or a gala, which still seems to be very controversial amongst people. Let's find out what the weather's going to be like for you.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A sizzling, sunny summer Saturday for the vast majority. If you're waking up in eastern areas, then, well, it might just be a little grey outside. Mist and low cloud has been filtering in through the night. It's quite patchy in nature and it is going to burn back to the coasts. Some beaches may stay a little misty, but for most places, it's going to be dry, it's going to be sunny, and it is going to be hot. Temperatures widely over 30 degrees Celsius across the heart of England and Wales. A little cooler in eastern areas, particularly if some of that mist and low cloud sticks, but we could easily again get to 30 Celsius across parts of western Scotland, the west of Northern Ireland in the high 20s too. It's going to be a warm night, a balmy summer's evening. This ha, though, is likely to thicken up at times and will affect some coast across eastern Scotland, particularly around coasts of the Northern Isles. For most of mainland Scotland, much of Northern Ireland, a dry and a sunny end to the day. Fine and sunny too for the majority of England and Wales. Again, some of this patchy sea fog just at times rippling onto the coast. And it will come back inland as we go through the night too. This mist and low cloud will again feature on tomorrow morning. But for most places, it stays dry. Stays clear. It's going to be a really warm night, especially in parts of northwest Wales and northwest Scotland. With the mountains playing a part, temperatures could hold up above 20 Celsius in some locations. Most of us dipping down to about 15 to 18 Celsius. So quite a warm, quite a humid night again. And it will be a hot day tomorrow too, but not as hot. Temperatures generally a couple of degrees lower. A bit more cloud in eastern areas. Even the chance of seeing a shower or two across parts of northeast England, southeast Scotland, but it is just a small chance. Most places staying dry. Still some of that mist and low cloud on some coasts, but generally another hot day. But things are going to change, turning cooler and a bit wetter early next week.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Right, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 time. £54,321.
I thought you were about to burst into song.
Yeah,
there.
no, definitely not.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, there you are. That says it all. Here's how to try and get it.
We're here at Down Hall in Essex to enjoy the finer things in life. And it's your chance to win £54,321 in cash. It's like having an extra £1,000 in your bank account each week for a whole year, which means that you'd be able to indulge in treats whenever you wanted to. That extra cash each week could send some of those day-to-day financial stresses packing this year to enable you to sit back, relax and do nothing. Make sure you don't miss out on our biggest cash giveaway to date.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Wish you nothing but the very best if you're going to have a go at that. We'll take a break there. We're going to be back talking about things American President Trump has been to Texas to see the awful carnage after those floods. 120 people, they reckon, dead
terrible.
Now so far. So that's what we'll be doing next. Hope you can join us.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's completely unacceptable to have a biological man in a female-only changing room. And from my personal point of view, I was abused as a child, and having a man in our changing room is a particular trigger for me. And the trust just did nothing about it, so we had to take things further.
So you complained to the trust about this. You and your colleagues got together, and they just ignored you. They didn't really care about it.
Not a bit. They didn't care at all. We wrote a letter of concern. 26 of us signed it. And the response was that we needed to be re-educated, we needed to broaden our mindset, and they backed this trans person 150%.
So, Karen, this person who identifies as Rose, on one occasion they were staring at you or your colleagues' breasts in this changing room and asking, are you getting changed yet? Another of your colleagues had a panic attack. I don't think it was you. Is that accurate?
That was me.
And what do you make of people who call you a TERF? Or a bigot for complaining about this kind of thing, because that's what they say.
They do, yes, but there's been loads of positivity out there for us. There's loads of positive comments, and I'm not a bigot. I'm not a TERF. I'm just fighting for what's right. I want to feel safe when I get changed. Yeah. There's what's happened to me could have happened to other people, and I want to be a voice for them to stand up and come forward and say this is not acceptable.
Karen, you're a brave lady, you and your colleagues, and I'm glad, actually, it was Wes Streeting who intervened in the end, one of the more competent Labour ministers, who told Darlington Hospital, sort this out, pull your finger out, don't be so ridiculous, and he got involved and he sorted it out for you.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Right, welcome back. You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Eamonn and Anne. And thank you for some nice comments as well today, saying that it's nice to see us together.
Yeah, no,
dynamic duo, apparently.
President Trump will not be given the honour of addressing Parliament, we believe, during his state visit, which is going to happen probably in September.
Yeah, will it be seen as a snub? Because he's not going to be given the same honour that actually was bestowed on Presidents Obama and, of course, President Macron just recently. Let's talk to Chair for Republicans Overseas, one of our favourite guests, Greg Swenson, who joins us now. Yeah, this is awkward, isn't it?
Well, I guess the question is it a snub or is it just coincidence of timing? President Trump's got a busy schedule. Maybe it's coincidence, maybe it's not. But I don't think that it's, at this point, it doesn't look like a snub. It looks like a scheduling issue. Perhaps Keir Starmer purposely scheduled it during the recess. But on the other hand, this is the first president to have 2 state visits. So I think that's quite an honor. And so I wouldn't read too much into it. And the other thing is he'll have plenty of opportunities to have his voice heard. He's coming to Scotland next month to open a new golf course. He will be in Windsor for a few days. I believe he's staying at Winfield House here in London. There'll be plenty of opportunities. The other thing is I think perhaps they were afraid, or Keir Starmer was afraid, that some of his more unruly MPs would make a scene and express their Trump derangement syndrome in the wrong way and embarrass the party, embarrass the country. This is an important relationship for the UK. So I think any kind of effort to preserve that is important.
And Greg, what about your relationship with the Republican Party and you being chairman of Republicans overseas? How busy will you be during all of this?
Very. I mean, we've done this, we've had two experiences of this. Once was in 2018 when he came to the UK, not a state visit, but quite a controversial one with the protests. And then, of course, the state visit in 2019. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to it. We'll have, a lot of activities going on. So it's a great time. I think it's an honor for the UK. It's an honor for President Trump, and it's an honor for us to be involved. And I think it will go. I think the support for him is much different now than it was then. There's still going to be the critics, of course, but I do think there's a lot more support. I get stopped on the street all the time from people that see me on your show.
Is that right?
And on GB News in general, and they're really supportive of President Trump. And
I found a lot of people say, never mind his politics, at least he gets off his chair and does stuff.
Yeah, no, it's inspiring to see, and I think a lot of the support that he has in the UK, a lot of the people that talk to me, wish that the UK would take a page out of the Trump playbook. There's a little bit of Trump envy or Republican envy because of what he's doing and the success he's had so far. So, and look, I don't think he'll be afraid to criticize when the moment is right. You saw J.D. Vance in Munich, talking about free speech. That's a big issue. This state visit and the timing and not speaking to Parliament is not a story in the U.S. At least it isn't yet. But the criticism about the free speech problems here in the United Kingdom, that is a story. And they talk about the rape gangs, they talk about the free speech restrictions, people going to jail for sending mean tweets. That's actually front page news in the U.S. So I wouldn't be surprised if the president slips that in somewhere. Whether he would have done it, speaking to Parliament, I don't know. Maybe they were trying to avoid that.
Yeah, mind you, they didn't avoid it with President Macron, who sort of stood up and said what he thought, which in some cases sounded almost rude.
Yeah,
she said.
I think, look, I would expect that the president will get a much better, as good a treatment as Macron got in a different way. He's a more important figure. That's just fact.
I mean, they can turn on the pomp and pageantry within the walls of Windsor Castle so brilliantly.
The president loves that stuff.
And he will like that.
Yeah, that's really what he's going to enjoy here.
What he won't have loved is the visit to Texas in the past couple of days.
But at least he went.
Absolutely.
It's shocking.
It's one of the more difficult things. I think that and receiving soldiers coming back from conflict in coffins. Those two moments, and even maybe going to the hospitals, to Walter Reed, those are the really difficult parts of being president. I think he did it well. I think Melania did it well. You saw the firemen all take off their hats, their helmets, when Melania was there. Every one of those firemen, he's got such great support from first responders and other sort of working class.
Now, the Melania thing is interesting because I think we all anticipated that this term he'd be very much on his own and she would be off doing her own thing. But she is by his side more and more, and actually looking quite comfortable by his side.
Absolutely. I think, she's probably thrilled to be back. I think the first term, it was quite new for her, but also remember, their son, Barron, was still in school. He was a school-age child. He's now off at university. So she actually stayed in New York during the first term, at least the first few years. So, that's to look after Barron, make sure everything was great with him. And now he's off at college, and she can spend more time in Washington. No, I think she's done a great job so far, and she's got a massive fan base with firemen.
Yes, she's more popular than she was certainly in her first term.
Absolutely.
I suppose because she's more visible.
Yeah, no,
but we are seeing them together, which nobody really expected.
Yeah, it's great.
Greg, really appreciate you finding the time coming in on a busy day for you. Thank you very much.
Great to be here.
Yeah, it's always nice to see you. Thank you very much. Do stay with us. Still to come, it's the 12th of July, and we're going to be speaking to Dame Arlene Foster about everything that's going on in Northern Ireland this morning. That's next.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
King Charles is stepping back from one of the most traditional royal duties. That's riding on horseback for the Trooping of the Colour, which is coming up, I think, in a week's time, isn't it? At 76 and undergoing cancer treatment, he'll now take the salute from a carriage, just as Queen Elizabeth did in her later years. But as the King trades saddle for state coach, it raises a bigger question. Does the pomp and pageantry of royal events like Trooping the Colour still resonate with modern Britain? Or are we holding on to rituals that really reflect the country, and do we really care?
I think the spectacle is important because it's symbolic, OK, and people really respond to that notion of heritage and grandeur. But I think it's about more than that. It's about constitutional monarchy. And there are 3 key points here. Constitutional monarchy produces higher standards of living than republics. It protects property rights and individual property because in the long term, it's not as vulnerable to ideology. And it holds a check on politicians as well. I'd much rather have King Charles than President Blair. And it's about continuity.
Legoland is just a short hop, skip and jump away from Windsor Castle. It gets many more visitors than any royal castle or other event. So we don't need the royals to have spectacle. We can have spectacle without it. And
Okay,
I think,
but you're not suggesting chopping their heads off, are you?
Oh, no, of course not. Of course not. No, I'd be very kind and gentle. But the one point that was made was that the royals are part of British culture and tradition. Well, in fact, the royals are German descent, who were basically, by their own internal agreement, took over the British throne.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Now, here we are. It's Saturday. It is the 12th of July. If you're from Northern Ireland, the 11th and the 12th mean a lot to certain sections of the community. It is a massive, big unionist festival. And it's about King Billy defeating King James at the Battle of the Boyne.
The Battle of the Boyne, yes. That always comes up in my diary, Battle of the Boyne. And I don't know very much about it. Dame Arlene Foster, however, is in Coleraine for us today, and she knows all about it. Let's speak to her now. Hello, lovely to see you.
And it's lovely to speak to you, and welcome to sunny Coleraine. And it's not often I get saying that on the 12th of July, but it's lovely to have such beautiful weather for the parades today.
Arlene, what is the best or worst to march in the rain, or is it harder to march in heat the way it is today? Because each has their pluses and minuses, don't they?
They do, and I mean, it'll be lovely today to see people out in their short sleeves and their bowler hats instead of their suits and their umbrellas. But you know what, it can be pretty hot, and we've had a lovely spell of weather here, and everybody's been told to carry bottles of water and to shade themselves if they can. And somebody's determined to play the drum behind me here, so I hope you can hear me okay. But it's going to be a wonderful day here in Coleraine, where we are, and right across the province. There's 18 demonstrations, as we call them, parades taking place today here in Northern Ireland.
Now, I don't know whether you can bottle it for us, but there'll be an awful lot of people watching at the moment who simply don't understand what the significance of July the 12th is and why you're wearing orange, for instance.
Well, I'm wearing orange today. I hope you like my new dress, but
Very much
especially
so.
for the occasion. This is a very special day because it's actually marking the Glorious Revolution, which just didn't have ramifications here on the island of Ireland, but actually right across the world in the United Kingdom, and indeed also over into America. And next year we're marking the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, and we're having a look during today's programme and and indeed in a special programme tonight about how the Ulster Scots, people from here, really influenced that Declaration of Independence and indeed the founding of America. So this actually is a global celebration today, and we're very pleased to be here in Coleraine, where Coleraine District will be hosting City of Londonderry Lodge, McCoskin District Lodge and Limavady District Lodge as well. So we're looking forward to the sights and the sounds and all of the pageantry that goes with the 12th of July.
Arlene, on what you're describing, I mean, we'll not even get into this, so complicated, but really well explained by Dougie Beattie in the programme that we will screen at midnight tonight. But it is complex. The understanding of politics in Ireland in general, in Northern Ireland, is very, very high and very good. But the ramifications, how we, as a population of 1.5 million people or so, have influenced the world, particularly America, in terms of presidents and politics and wars and goodness knows what. I would suggest people should maybe educate themselves in it, and especially actually people from home, because the 12th has different ramifications, of course. It means a lot to Unionist people, and its antagonism and antithesis to people of a nationalist descent.
Yeah, and I really do think people should watch that programme by Dougie tonight, because it really sets the ground as to how people from this little island went across to America and helped to found one of the greatest nations in the world. So that's a very important programme tonight. But yes, we're here today, we're celebrating, we're going to have a good time. It's very much a family-focused day here in Coleraine, and as I said, the weather's out, so we'll all be out in our sun hats and looking forward to a great day.
OK, it's going to be a busy day for you. Thank you so much. And as you said, it's actually, I don't mean to be mean, but it's so interesting to see Northern Ireland bathed in sunshine.
Oh, absolutely.
It's lovely. Thank you, Eileen.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you later.
Thanks. And Arlene, talking about the influence Northern Ireland's had on police, she was just reminding me there, we exported bluegrass music to America. So hillbilly music is
Irish.
Is actually folk music from Ireland, right? Fiddle music and all that sort of thing.
Of course it would be, yes.
And
yes, when you think of it, that makes total sense.
It does
when you
make
think
total
about
sense,
it.
yeah.
But the Irish have always, scattered across the world a bit, haven't they?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But especially to the east coast of America.
But it's, Arlene called them demonstrations. Some people call them celebrations. Not everybody agrees with what goes on there. And certainly in recent years, the Troubles tend to dominate the influence that the 12th parades had been having.
Yes, for some people it's not such a great day, but anyway, like I say, it's nice to see the sunshine in Northern Ireland.
But anyway,
every time I've ever been to Belfast,
we'll have big coverage. We'll have big coverage for you today. Now you're going on a cruise in a couple of weeks' time, and you're going to stop in Northern Ireland. I'm going to stop it.
Yeah, I've been. That's how I've more recently seen Belfast is coming in by ship and going to see the Titanic experience in the docks, and that is fabulous.
It is very good, isn't it? Yeah.
So if you're off to Belfast, that is one of the key things to see. Tell you what I've never seen, and I really want to see this time, and I know it's quite a long trek, is the Giant's Causeway.
Have you not?
Never been, and I'd love to. And do you know, you'll know this, people put coins in between the little ridges.
Stupid.
It apparently is damaging.
Oh, stupid.
This amazing place, damaging really badly. So many coins have been pushed in, and I don't know whether it's rust, I think, that when the coins rust, they expand, and they're actually pushing some of the stones apart. And so there's a big campaign on now to try and stop people doing that. But I would love to see it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a great spectacle.
Yeah.
Right, we're talking about music there, and we're going to continue to talk about music as Oasis performed in Manchester last night. And of course, this is these guys coming back home, and they're going to be on stage for a few nights, including this evening. And broadcaster Tim Vincent will join us in a couple of minutes to tell us how much money this is all making. First of all, though, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
It's hot and sunny for the Greek islands at the moment, and plenty of hot sunshine in southern parts of Spain and Portugal too. But for northern Spain and northern Portugal, a bit more cloud coming in off the Atlantic and some outbreaks of rain possible here. Small chance of a shower in Catalonia as well, but some heavy showers likely over Italy, particularly affecting Rome. There's that sunshine in Greece, which will continue into next week, and the showers in Rome should clear away and temperatures will be rising here into next week too.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
And
Well, welcome back, yes. And we're going to talk Oasis, yeah?
Yes, yeah.
The Manchester-born brothers, Noel and Liam Gallagher, of course.
I would like to go and see them. I
Would you?
Yes.
But you said you've always shunned them slightly because...
That's my problem, isn't it?
Because they're Manchester City supporters.
Yes, and I do have an aversion to that.
But you'd still like to go?
Maybe now you're drawing it to my attention, I may not. I could watch them a bit. I think they'll have a great atmosphere and whatever.
Well, so what you see as more attractive is the atmosphere of being in the crowd.
Yeah.
Almost than what's happening on stage.
The hits they've had, you know.
They'll be very hurt about that because they've put their all into this.
Don't take my word for it. Tim Vincent joined us now in the studio, and it is a football problem with me with the two boys, but I mean I recognise their genius.
Well, they are Man City supporters, as we know. I was going to ask if you're fans, but I think you probably fall into the half of the population that are disinterested but interested. But we can't deny that they are a huge band. We famously know that they split up in 2009, so it's 15 years since they've got together, shared a stage, and what a way to do it. They've launched a world tour, a proper world tour. They're going to North America, South America, Australia, South Korea. But everybody has been focused in the UK. They did a couple of nights in Cardiff to great reception. But the temperature in Manchester last week has been as high as the temperature outside. It's just been amazingly exciting for everybody there because the boys, the brothers...
They're walking out hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
Can you imagine the crowd have wanted to see that for years? Do they mean it?
I think they do mean it at the moment. You know, that's the big codicil, you know, and Liam drops to his knees and Foley celebrates his brother. I think what this comes down to, the boys won't be the first to deny this, but they're here for a money grab. This is a massive, big undertaking. They're a huge phenomenon around the world. Conservatively, if they do well, they're going to generate over £400 million on this world tour. Now, Taylor Swift, which was the biggest tour ever, created £1 billion. So, they're nearly halfway there without doing all the social media. They've got 5 nights in Manchester. They did the first night last night, then 5 nights in Wembley. Just the Manchester alone will be 340,000 fans turning up, spending £75, £200 a ticket to see them.
I'll bet some of them will be... Well, getting a ticket was difficult, though. I was going to say, I'll bet some of them will be going every night.
There's a bit of a controversy, actually. If it's to believe, and I think it is to be believed, because Liam has actually delivered a tweet on it, that all the people that work on that tour, they're away from their family and friends for months, years, and they're, literally in different countries, different cities. Usually they're allowed to bring their family and friends as a +1. Apparently the boys have said, no, we're not comping it. £400 million coming in, but we're not comping all these things, so you guys can't bring your family, which is one indication that there's been problems on board. But Liam did a very good tweet, which I'm going to read for you. Liam shut down the report by saying, there's a few swear words here, which I won't say. Our crew members don't have friends, and their wives and husbands are glad to see the backs of them and tell me and our kid every time we see them, they don't know how we put up with them on a daily basis, let alone go around the world with them. So I think at the moment they're having a lot of fun. I think the question that should be asked is that any problems should be asked in a couple of months' time. It's all well and good burying the hatchet when they're making £400 million, but 3 months in, they might be burying the hatchet in each other's heads. Who knows?
I wonder if they've... What did they originally fall out about?
I think they fell out about everything. I think one of the issues is that Noel is the sole songwriter for many of the big hits and has the ownership of that music. Liam, fantastic showman, brilliant singer, doesn't have those rights and doesn't make as much money, doesn't have the control. He did a documentary...
So they earn different money?
Different money, and he also wanted to use some of the Oasis songs for a documentary that he was associated with, and found out that his brother was in charge of it and said no. So there are obviously tensions. We all work with people that we love more or hate more. So they are together looking at probably £50 million each after they gross £400 million around the world.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that sort of thing crops up and is really difficult, especially between brothers.
Yes.
To find out, when you're seen as a duo on stage, to find out that your brother's earning an awful lot more.
Sprinkling a lot of creative juice as well, and having to deliver every night.
But clearly they are convincing the audience, because the audience would just bowled over. They're convincing the audience that all is well and that
But if they walk out holding hands on the stage, then where does that illusion stop? I mean, do they share the same hotel room?
No, apparently one of the tabloid newspapers was following them and saw that at the end of the concert, one goes in one direction, the other one goes in the other.
But there's lots of bands that are very well known and get on still do that as well.
Yeah.
I think let's have this chat in a month's time and see how they get on. Then, you know, Liam, I think it was Liam fell out at one point and just left the tour. So it could happen again. I think it's very interesting that they've sold out all the way across the UK
But you know,
straight away.
The jeopardy of that actually keeps everybody talking and wanting to go. And I do hope they're still stuck together with each other tonight.
Exactly. Well, they've got 4 more nights in Manchester, Heaton Park, then 5 nights at Wembley. So you'll be sick and tired of talking about them.
Have you seen the concert yet?
I haven't seen the concert, and I'm not. You know, I'm of an age that I probably don't want to queue for 18 hours with lots of dads singing Morning Glory and wearing their Kappa outfits and Stone Island tops. I think they're a very good band, but I'd rather watch it at home with a cup of tea.
Yeah, oh dear, don't say that. That's terrible. Well, thank goodness for them that they've got people who will.
340,000.
Yeah. OK, we're fast running towards the end of the programme, are we not? Thank you so much for staying with us, and thank you, of course, for telling us all about Oasis. If you're
good seeing you, Tim. Thank you.
If you're off to the concert tonight, have a wonderful time. That's it from us, but do stay tuned because it is Saturday, of course. So it's Saturday Morning Live next with Charlie and Nana, and I think they're there.
And we're back tomorrow.
Hello, good morning. I know it's me. I'm doing a double. I'll be back for my show, but right now I'm going to be doing Saturday Morning Live with Charlie Peters.
Yes, Miriam Cates is having a lovely time on holiday in France, but we've got the wonderful Nana Akua stepping in instead, which is, you know, I think a lot of people will be enjoying that. It's a fun little mix, getting us back together. Lots to get through today. So much politics, so much news to get through, but also, of course, we are in Northern Ireland with Dookie Beattie, with Arlene Foster for those July the 12th celebrations for those marches. Nana, have you ever watched much of that before?
I did, because we do it every year.
We,
of course, honour the United Kingdom. We're not just going to look at London and all the parts there. We go to Northern Ireland, we go to Wales, we go to Scotland, we go everywhere because we are GB News, Britain's news channel.
Yeah, so they were lighting the bonfires last night on the 11th and the day before as well.
Of course.
They light those bonfires, Nana, in order to commemorate people trying to guide the armies back in for the Battle of the Boyne from 1690. So ancient history always being revitalised in Northern Ireland. So we'll see how that
stay
goes.
with us. Stay with us throughout. Don't forget, I'll be back after that as well for another show. I know, I'm such a stalwart. But first, let's get an update with your weather.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A sizzling, sunny summer Saturday for the vast majority. If you're waking up in eastern areas, then, well, it might just be a little grey outside. Mist and low cloud has been filtering in through the night. It's quite patchy in nature and it is going to burn back to the coasts. Some beaches may stay a little misty, but for most places, it's going to be dry, it's going to be sunny, and it is going to be hot. Temperatures widely over 30 degrees Celsius across the heart of England and Wales. A little cooler in eastern areas, particularly if some of that mist and low cloud sticks, but we could easily again get to 30 Celsius across parts of western Scotland, so west of Northern Ireland in the high 20s too. It's going to be a warm night, a balmy summer's evening. This ha, though, is likely to thicken up at times and will affect some coast across eastern Scotland, particularly around coasts of the Northern Isles. For most of mainland Scotland, much of Northern Ireland, a dry and a sunny end to the day. Fine and sunny too for the majority of England and Wales. Again, some of this patchy sea fog just at times rippling onto the coast. And it will come back inland as we go through the night too.